Hello and welcome to the Touring Pro Series Virtual Mini Challenge 2014, Round 6 from Campo Grande.
InsideSimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Hello there everybody and welcome to live coverage of this 6th round of the 2014 Touring Pro Series Virtual Mini Challenge, taking place live here from Campo Grande as we close in on the end of the season. This is going to be an absolutely incredible fight in the championship between two men. Eric Strana, who leads the title race by 1 point from the man who has been at the top of the standings for all season, apart from last time out, leaving Taruma, and that was Chris Butcher. Now there's 2 races left here at Campo Grande, and then the double header of races at the final round at Mid-Ohio. And it's all to play for to see who will come away from this penultimate round of the championship in the lead of the standings going into that season finale. It really is going to be an incredible spectacle. Scott Woodwiss here giving you the commentary and also cameras. I am flying solo tonight. No John Monroe, unfortunately. So you'll have me droning on for the next hour and a half, 2 hours as well. So good luck with that. But you can see that we've had quite a season so far, running at a variety of fantastic circuits. Of course, starting the season back at Curitiba, then we went to Jacarepaguá, and then moving through the other championship, other circuits, of course, through rounds 3 and then 4 at Velo Park. The last round, which produced some fantastic racing in the first race in Taruma. And then, of course, we've got Campo Grande and Mid-Ohio. Before we move on to the championship standings, we're going to give you our first of several reminders of what's coming up later on in the next couple of weeks as we near the end of the 4 winter championships. We near the end of the winter period here at TPS, but there's still championships all to play for in all 4 series. The next event that you'll see on your screens for TPS is going to be the Virtual Supertech Series. That'll be this Saturday at 10 to 6, and that is going to be taking place at Cascavel as they head towards their final round of the championship. There's a large championship fight going on there between several drivers. Then we move on to next Wednesday. We go to the Virtual Touring Masters and we head to the east and we head to Fuji. The Virtual Supertech Series has headed there once this year already, and that provided some spectacular racing. Now it's the turn of the Group 5 DRM sports cars. They get to head over there, and all remains to be seen whether or not John Monroe can take his second ever TPS victory in as many races after he took his maiden TPS win after some 84 attempts at the Oostenrijk ring at the wheel of his Ford Capri. But it is a massive championship battle going on between Jesper Tolborg and Robert Wiesenmuller. Tolborg in the Porsche and Wiesenmuller in the Toyota. And then next Saturday, we close in on the end of the Virtual Carrera Cup, the first season which this championship has run. And we head across to Denmark, the best that the Scandinavian Carrera Cup has to offer, and the Jyllandsringen. And the only things I really know about that circuit is, one, it's in Denmark, and the second is that Ayrton Senna won there once in a Formula 4 2000 car. Apart from that, it looks a very tricky and technical track. It should be fantastic to see the Carreras battle it out on that layout. And of course, the man in form and the man to try and stop is Tim Heinemann. He has won the last 8 races on the trot. Can he possibly extend that record? Because, of course, there are 2 race meetings left to go with double headers, and that is, of course, Jyllandsringen and then the season finale at Mount Panorama in Bathurst in Australia. And if he can win all 4 of those, he'll do something which no other driver has done, and that is win 12 races on the trot in TPS. Should be quite a spectacle indeed. So before we head out onto the track, because this is currently taking place at the moment, we're going to take a very quick look at how the championship standings look coming into the penultimate round. And this is how they look coming into it. Eric Strana leads with 222 points, with a single point margin over Chris Butcher. And remember, Chris actually, up until Taruma, was leading the championship all the way through until he had a couple of technical problems, which, especially a disconnection in race 2, which actually led him to have to forced him to retire, and that of course meant that he had to leave with a huge loss of points and means that he is now playing catch-up and on the back foot to Strana. It should actually be noted that the two ice-cold cars of Strana and Tveit are very much on the pace. They've been setting the standard in practice, and of course they are currently, I believe, top of the timesheets. If I have a look, they're not in fact, because Chris Butcher's actually just gone quicker, fractionally faster than Eric Strana, so he's actually turned the wick up in the last few moments just as we've gone on air. Robert Miller still sits third. He is actually returning to the virtual minis after he signed out at the end of Taruma. But he has now come back and he has now decided that he wants to try and give some support to his teammates and do it in the best possible way, seeing as he is now back in the championship fight and Robert isn't. And so he's now sat in third with 176 points and can still at least consolidate that, because Peter Dweevlar in fourth is closing in with 159. Rasmus Salo sits fifth with 140. Then Eric Tveit in sixth with 122. Toby Davis sits seventh for the THR Orange team with 107 points. Ryan Callum for Walk Racing is equal eighth with Andrew Waring for eighth position. And then we've got Miguel Neto rounding out the top 10 on 92. Alexander Lauritsen, who took a victory last time out at Taruma, sits 11th on 89 points. And Luis Fernandez, 12th with 75. Jonathan Clint, 13th with 55. Adrian Campfield, who is not racing tonight, we believe. And I think the only driver who is from the Campfield stable is Jake Walker, who is taking part tonight. But he's all the way down the practice times in 19th. Only a second off the pace set at the moment by Chris Butcher. But not many cars being represented there by Campfield, although they reportedly do have a brand new paint scheme, which I'm pretty sure we'll see at the final round in Mid-Ohio. And then we have Jimmy Hughes rounding out the top 15 on 47 points. We'll keep the driver standings up for the moment because I'm going to have a quick run through of the team standings. And looking at the team standings coming into Campo Grande, they sit as follows. I scroll up on my screen that I have right here. Going to work. Here we go. So THR Red sit with 397 points at the top of the standings, but Ice Cold Racing are closing in, and they have 344 points. So they are only roughly around 53 points off the top. Walk Racing sit third with some very consistent results throughout the year on 254. THR Blue with 228 sit fourth. There's a great scrap going on for fifth with 1 point separating EKT Portugal in fifth and THR Orange in sixth. And at the moment, it seems in practice times that it's EKT Portugal who have the edge at this circuit at least. Smile Power Racing are 7th with 118. Aerostream Motorsport 2 are 8th with 103. And then Campfield Racing, after only 2 race weekends, are already into the top 10 with 65. And they hold a 5-point advantage over Optimum Sim Racing Alpha with 60 points. So, let's now head out onto the track and see exactly what is going on with these guys as we get rid of that, because we don't need to see the standings anymore. And let's take a look then at the man who is currently at the top of the standings, and it is this guy here, Chris Butcher, and top of the times, as the clock conveniently ticks down to 0. So Butcher now currently leads the practice times. He decides to dart out of the way of the chasing pack behind him. But 138.425, and that's incredibly quick, because the pole time last year set by Simon Kilo was a 138.4. So 3 drivers all within, looks like 13 thousandths of a second of each other, shows that we have it's incredibly looking incredibly competitive up at the front of the field. Drivers that have come on very strong here at the moment. It seems that Ben Hackson in 4th for Smile Power Racing. Wonderful pace from him, 138.647. Miguel Neto, as we said, is heading up the charge for EKT Portugal in 5th. And the highest THR Orange car is Toby Davis in 7th, with Peter Dweevlar sandwiched in between. And of course, now as we head into the qualifying session, we can have a look at a few more drivers who are in there. Chris Shepherd is up in 8th position, who is sporting a very rather interesting livery here for what is, to all intents and purposes, puppy racing. Now, this is a white and pink car, I should say, with kind of paw marks and some rather cute-looking dogs on it and what have you. So that's a car that certainly stands out. Apparently, that was a car or a team which Simon Kilo was due to drive for before circumstances meant that he was unable to do that. But 8th place for that car in what I believe is its first race weekend in the Virtual Mini Challenge. That's not too bad from Chris, showing us a definite turn of pace. We should also say hello to Duarte Lopez, because he is currently taking part in I believe his first race of the season in Virtual Minis here at Campo Grande. He's already put himself right onto the pace in 10th quickest. And looking through the rest of the standings, looks like we've got a 25-car grid. You can see Jake Walker down in 20th for the only Campfield junior representative. None of the other Campfield Racing senior team drivers are here, including Adrian himself. Lewis McGlade was finished up 25th. We should actually point out that Lewis is actually running with a wheel for the first time, because he usually races with an Xbox 360 controller, but has now made the plunge, taken the plunge, and purchased himself a Logitech G27. So kudos to Lewis for making the transition. This is very much a learning curve for him, getting used to the wheel. As we're watching Duarte Lopez trickle his way out of the pits, and he's actually racing for EKT Portugal also, so I didn't realise that. So he's obviously in there to try and strengthen the charge for their points standings at least. As he trundles round, he decides to push on and see what he can do to get himself in qualifying. So just a quick reminder of the format for qualifying and the race weekend. We get 2 10-minute qualifying sessions before each, one before each race. And it's pretty much simple. You can run as many laps as you want to, of course, and fastest time obviously gets pole position. There's no reverse grids here, no kind of picking a lottery or anything. It's purely just fastest man that starts on the top of the grid. It's blatantly obvious. Don't know why I've been pointing that out, really. But we look back forwards to the front and look at the traffic jam. We get a good shot here of Peter Dweevlar. A long stream of cars down the pit straight, so everyone obviously opting to get out very early indeed, try and gain an advantage and gain some track time, because Campo Grande seems to be very much a circuit that's similar in layout as to how it drives compared to somewhere like Jacarapagua. That if you look at the 2 track maps, there's not too much dissimilarity between the pair of them, but there's lots of long corners with kind of long, almost 180-degree radiuses and long straights as well. The cars are touching roughly around 120 miles an hour by the time they get to the end of the back straight. And the cars, many find themselves mostly running in 3rd gear through most of these corners. But we'll have to wait and see how that one plays out. Jonathan Osserklint has given me some inside information saying he does not like this track, and he doesn't have good memories for that, because of course there was a controversial incident between himself and Ryan Callan, of all people, at the last corner, showing that even the best in TPS could make mistakes. And it was a rather large one at that, from what I understand. As we now watch Peter Dweevlar getting it sideways through what is turn 6. And now they run down towards a very tricky braking zone for turn 7. Oh, and Dweevlar, that was rather uncourteous of him. Right into the back of Shell Stenbeck. I'm pretty sure Bradley Vanian won't appreciate that one, because he's just seen Peter Dweevlar on straight into the back of one of his cars. Man who is now currently top of the times then is Javier de Carvalho prematurely, because of course on a 140.038 we've seen much faster times. In fact, they are starting to come through straight away. Eric Strana is the quickest so far, because he's in sector 2. Chris Shepherd immediately jumps to the top of the pile with a 138.668. Fernandez has gone to second on a 39.3, and Amaral third on a 39.7, and indeed the times are coming in thick and fast. We wait to see who is going to be where on these times. We wait to see where Eric Strana is. He's getting a tow from teammate Eric Tveit, who's also going purple on this sector, as is Miguel Neto. So purple sectors all over the place, but we'll see exactly how this is going to play out. So the first man is going to be across the line is going to be Eric Tveit, and let's see what these top guys set in terms of initial times. It's 140.2 for Tveit. Let's see where Strana's picked it. 15th, 140.1. Butcher goes straight into second with a 138.867. So Shepherd currently sets the tight standard for puppy racing. Never thought I'd say that in my lifetime. As we see Javier de Carvalho practicing his drifting skills through turns 5 and 6. And Ryan Callan is also going on a quick lap, so we'll quickly skip to him. As is also Miguel Neto and Robert, and Chris Butcher's going even quicker. Robert Wiesenmuller, and Toby Davis also. So that first sector, there is a tiny bit of time to be gained, but drivers are only going faster by roughly around half a tenth or so. So not too much time to be gained. As we watch Ryan Callan run down the back straight up towards 120, then you pitch it into this left-hander. Very similar to this kind of, as we said, to Jacarapagua. It's a long left-hander, seemingly endless, and you mainly run through there roughly around 85 miles an hour on the middle of the corner, and then hard on the brakes against this very winding complex that takes you back towards the pit straight. And looking at some drivers here, see Chris Butcher's on a personal best at the moment. Toby Davis still purple, currently sat 5th fastest on a 138.950. And we're waiting for Ryan Callan. He hasn't gone quicker in sector 2, so he's lost his sector. And Callan sprints for the line. This is not going to be quicker by any shape or margin. No, it's not. 140.227. He remains in eighth spot. Looking up to Toby Davis, who is now down to 6th. Strana's gone quickest. Strana goes top, 138.6565, and Toby Davis goes to 2nd, 138.612. So brilliant time from Toby Davis. He was fairly down the times in practice all the couple of hours before they came into qualifying, and now suddenly he's found a turn of pace in that Mini, and he's definitely got himself at the top. But Eric Strana then is the man who has gone to the top of the times. Not the quickest time we've seen, as of course practice times have seen both Strana, Butcher and Tveit all hit 138.4s, but it's Strana currently on provisional pole with just under 4 minutes to go left in this first qualifying session. Now then, we scroll to the standings to see where everyone else is looking in comparison. Tveit hasn't been given the opportunity to put in a solid lap time yet, because he can go quicker than 139.744. Clint goes purple in Sector 1, but of course we're expecting a lot of drivers to do that, because there's not too much time you can gain, as we said, from Sector 1. Strana goes to the top then. 2nd is Toby Davis, gaining a tow from his 2 teammates. There they go. And that's Robert Wiesenmuller in the... Wiesenmuller goes very wide and loops it on the edge of the corner. I think that's his kind of escape technique. Just disappears at the end of the circuit and pirouettes in sympathy. As Davis continues to 2nd and aborts that lap because he realises he's not going anywhere near quicker. Chris Shepherd still impressing for Puppy Racing. Pretty sure they'll be very content with that. Had a huge moment in practice, almost lost the back end completely, but some rather smart car control from Shepherd managed to keep the car running in the right direction. Only driver yet to set any kind of time is Matt Emmons. He's down the bottom of the times in 25th. A few drivers on personal bests as Luis Fernandez goes up to 12th with a 139.199. And Duarte Lopez and Jimmy Hughes are also on personal bests in 15th and 16th. So not too many changes in times just yet, because everyone seems to have got to that point where they're finding it hard to not only find more time, but to find a gap, because everyone's got the same idea. Duarte Lopez has just gone to 10th, 139.048 for the Portuguese driver. Good to see EKT Portugal in such good form. 6th and 10th for their 2 cars. And they're sandwiching, of course, Reese Gardner, who is one of the Small Power team. Small Power with a variety of different cars. And I'm watching Ethan Bass. I thought for a second he was almost a 2nd up, but that's not correct. That was a glitch on the screen I had. He's almost a 10th up, as is Duarte Lopez, half a 10th. But we have to look quickly at Eric Strana, who has gone purple, I believe, in Sector 1, as is a lot of people, but can he carry on that momentum? Now, what's interesting is that Tveit is behind him, but he's dropping back, so this doesn't seem to be as though he's on a fast lap to any intents or purposes. And he's a 10th down, so Strana, if he can find a mega final sector, doesn't look as though he's going to improve. As I think I saw someone sliding off in the background, but that must have been seeing things. Unless that was Robert Wiesenmuller practicing his drifting skills again, as do several drivers in this championship. It's not hard to drift these things, just get the tail out, and of course to bring the front end around, just give it a boot of throttle and away you go. So, out of this very tricky final corner where it goes back on itself on the exit, and the slipstream effect, one of you straights to take advantage of that, but Strana comes up to the end, up to the line, and he does go quicker, and Tveit's going to be even quicker still, 138.494. So Tveit goes fastest, as he had done in practice until Butcher came along. Now Davis has gone quicker by 0.04 of a second in Sector 1. So we kind of ignore that. It's the 2nd sector really we want to watch these guys to see if they go any quicker at all. Luis Fernandez back in 16th. He's 0.2 up on his personal best in Sector 1. So looks like he'll possibly be able to crack the top 10. As the clock continues to wind down, 15 seconds left of this first qualifying session. And Chris Butcher needs all the time and all the space he can get, because he's currently down in 5th. He needs to be higher than that and closer to Strana. If he can start possibly on the same row, or at least directly behind him in terms of position, he'll be up there. In fact, he is going quicker. He's up by almost 0.07 of a second in Sector 2, and that's due to the fact he's had a bit of an aid from his sister teammate Toby Davis, and also from his direct teammate Robert Wiesenmuller. And oh dear, now I wonder if Toby possibly gave him a bit of a bulk there. And Tveit's also faster still. We'll keep at the moment with Butcher and see if that bit of a mistake where he had to brake a little too hard and a little too much through turns 7 and 8. So I think one of the small power cars has taken the billboard out in the background. But here comes Butcher towards the line. He moves to 4th. 1:38.642, and that's his session over. But Tveit is going even faster. And look at this, he now has the tow from Eric Strana. He'll have it from his teammate down the pit straight. Tveit is currently on provisional pole position, but is he going to go any quicker with this time? We'll find out. The answer to that question is yes, he does. 1:34.8.422. So he actually is the only man to crack the 1:38.4. It's exactly what he did in practice. He will start on pole position with his teammate Eric Strana alongside him on the front row. Toby Davis will start an impressive 3rd, because Toby Davis has been a little bit off form in recent times. His luck hasn't been always with him. But the other major championship rival, Chris Butcher, is going to start 4th. He would very much have dearly liked to have started on the front row, but of course it's not the end of the world. He can make up places from that. If Toby makes it easy for him off the start, he can at least be set free to chase after the 2 ice-cold machines. And Strana will obviously want to get his nose in front if he can afford to. And because Tveit, of course, will act as a buffer between Strana and Butcher. Have to give kudos to Chris Shepherd in 5th. Great performance for Puppy Racing's first time out in the minis with 5th place. Robert V. Miller on his return is 6th. I say his return, but he signed out and looks like he signed back in again, so that was a bit of a rash decision. He has managed to fix his wheel, because he had problems that not only blasted in the virtual minis, but also in the virtual Touring Masters. So he has managed to fix that. As to what the exact problem was, he wasn't sure. But great performance also by the 2 EKT Portugal cars of Miguel Neto and also Duarte Lopez. So congratulations to him for qualifying 8th. So it's an all EKT Portugal 4th row. Jonathan Osserklint will start 9th with Rhys Gardner in 10th. Ben Haxon and Peter Dweeblar will be on row 6. So Haxon out-qualifying a former Virtual Mini champion with Ethan Bass 13th, Ryan Callan 14th, and hoping not to repeat his embarrassing memories of the last time he came to Campo Grande last year. Madazewski will start 15th alongside Luis Fernandez in 16th, and then it's Amaral and Hughes on row 9. Jake Walker and Arachich Razvan on row 10. David Nathan and Javier de Carvalho on row 11. Chell Stenbeck and Lewis McGlade in row 12. Of course, Lewis getting used to his new wheel, which is possibly the reason why he's a little bit slower than normal. And at the back of the field, it's going to be Matt Emmons in 25th. Whether or not he set a time, I'm not 100%, but we'll have to wait and see. So Eric Tveit starts on pole. We're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be back in 2 for the first race of the Virtual Mini Challenge here at Campo Grande for the 2014 season.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
And welcome back to live coverage of the Virtual Mini Challenge, round 6 here from Campo Grande. Penultimate round of the championship as Eric Strana and Chris Butcher do battle towards the end of the championship to find out who will be the 2014 Virtual Mini Challenge champion. Just before we get back to the racing action, of course, as the cars are currently in warm-up with 2 minutes to go, quick reminder of how you can keep in touch with us here at Touring Pro Series. Of course, there is the website, TouringProSeries.com, for all the latest information, including news reports of all the latest races that have been taking place. Also, we have presence on all the various social media networks, of course, on Facebook.com/TouringProSeries, where we give you regular updates, as well as to all the live broadcasts. You can follow us on Twitter as well, Twitter.com/Touring_Pro. And of course, if you miss anything in this broadcast or any of the broadcasts of recent times, just head to YouTube.com/TouringProSeries, where every single broadcast we show is uploaded in full for you to watch at your leisure. And of course, we have to say thank you to all of our associates and sponsors for this championship. Of course, for InsideSimRacing.tv for hosting our forums. Of course, for the support from Cancer Research UK. Of course, do go ahead and support them. It's a very worthy cause and a very worthy charity. And of course, today is also World Cancer Day. So do get in and support all the cancer charities that are out there. Because of course, the more support it gets, the quicker that we can beat this. Also, thank you to Live Racers, who I think are currently down at the moment with our live timing, so apologies for that, but Live Racers giving us excellent live timing support. Also, SimSync Pro, who allows us to keep our races updated with all the latest goings on in terms of skins and circuits and all the latest cars and tracks that they need for the championship, and also for Multi-BC for the broadcast as well. It's been fantastic to have support from all of them, and of course, this is also being broadcasted live on SimSport, so thank you very much to them for providing, and also, of course, the rights to studios for GameStop Car 2012. Of course, we are going to make the transition to GameStop Car 2013 as soon as all of our 4 championships are over. Quick reminder of all the championships which are coming up in the next couple of weeks. The next event is going to be quickly before we go to the race is Virtual Supertech Series at Cascavel, the penultimate round of the championship. That'll be on Saturday at 10 to 6. The next round will be after that will be next Wednesday. That will be the next round of the Virtual Touring Masters live from Fuji. That will be at 7:45 on Wednesday. And then next Saturday will be the penultimate round of the Virtual Carrera Cup live from Jyllandsringen in Denmark. So all of those championships coming to a close as we end our winter series and, of course, look forward to what the summer has in store. So let's move on to what is going on out on track. As the clock ticks down conveniently to 0, we get set for our first of 2 races tonight here at Campo Grande. And it is going to be Eric de Veit starting on pole. Just for the record, it's Miguel Neto fastest in practice, 1:38.749. So he's there from Pedro Amaral second, Ethan Bass third, and Tomasz Madezewski in 4th. And that's the only forecast that either bothered to set a time. The rest have obviously just gone out to check a few things and to check in terms of find their clutch points for starts and what have you. And of course, it's just doing practice starts and making sure everything is in order for this first of 2 18-lap races here at the Campo Grande circuit. So let's just assess then what needs to be done in order for Chris Butcher to try and remain in the championship hunt, because of course this is very important. As the situation currently stands right now, it now means that Butcher needs to make sure that he's taking as many points extra as possible. If he can afford to, he needs to leave Campo Grande as the championship leader, because of course that will mean, of course, it'll give him the obvious advantage going into the final round at Mid-Ohio. But Strana, of course, has been very consistent over the season. If you look at their statistics over the year, or over the season rather, we can see that in terms of their results, I'll bring that up on the screen. Looking at the driver's statistics, you can see that the only real blot on Butcher's copybook was the non-finish that he suffered in the second race at Taruma. Now, apart from that, in terms of races led, Butcher has led more races. He's had more pole positions because he's had 2 pole positions compared to the 1. They have also had equal front row starts. Well, it's now 4 because Strana's starting on the front row. They've all had equal podiums. They've had 6 podiums each. They've had 7 top 5s each. And Butcher's had 1 more top 10. He's had 9 compared to Eric Strana's 8. And has led more laps also. So, but hasn't driven more laps because, of course, he retired from the second race in Taruma, as we said. Butcher also, crucially, has that 1 extra win. And I think that's what's kept him in the fight. The fact that he has failed to score in 1 race, but he has the edge in terms of victories over Eric Strana. So, looking back from Eric de Veit, the young Norwegian, of course, only about 15 years old, but definitely showing his skills as one of the faster drivers of the current generation of TPS competitors. And of course, looking back from Toby Davis, and there you can see is in fact Chris Butcher. And of course, he does have support in the fact of Robert Wiesenmuller, who we'll look at right now. And Wiesenmuller, of course, with that very looking livery on the front. So he is a TPS red driver, but of course he's there just to support the fact that he is a number 1. But of course that number 1 plate is due to be missing from his car by the end of Mid-Ohio, you would assume. Although if Wiesenmuller does win both races and then, for whatever reason, Strana and Butcher, as unlikely as it is, don't score in either race, and of course the Wiesenmuller wins both, That's going to put him straight back in the Championship 5. Going into Mid-Ohio, could even see a 3-way scrap in the Championship. It's very unlikely, with all due respect to Robert, but that is an outside scenario. And just having a quick scroll through what we can see in terms of the grid. Everyone seems to be on there, and we'll get ourselves ready for the opening race of the weekend. You can see Chris Shepherd just in 5th place, angling his car to the inside of the grid, just to give him the best kind of propulsion off the line. So, as we get set for the start, we are ready. The Res Rise for the first race at Campo Grande, round 6, here in the Virtual Mini Challenge 2014. Lights are red, lights are green, and we are racing in race 1. Great start from Tveit, who manages to hold on to the lead. Strana is going to slot into 2nd if he can, as they head down towards turn 1 for the first time. And looks as though already Butcher's up to 3rd, past Toby Davis, who's had not such a great start, but he's into 4th, holding off Chris Shepherd in 5th in the Puppy Racing car. And the field looks as though it's making its way through turn 1 relatively cleanly. That's the first. As we already see Strana trying to go around the outside of Tveit, and he did in Taruma. He might have just done it again. And into turn 3. And has he got it done this time? Quite possibly. Yes, he has. And Butcher's up to 2nd already, and that's crucial for Chris because he needed to make that move as quickly as possible. So the 2 championship contenders are already to 1st and 2nd. Davis had a look into turn 5, and Tveit just nudging Butcher on the exit through turn 5, and now down the back straight for the first time. This is where the slipstream is going to be incredibly crucial. Strana already moving across to going with him, and Tveit now getting the run as he's now on the inside down towards the left-hander at turn 6. And now, also looking in the background, Chris Shepherd has got around Toby Davis. And already getting defensive on the former champion. As Tveit running a little wide, a little too deep through that left-hander. And look at Shepherd. Shepherd looking incredibly racy, looking to get a podium spot. Davis diving down the inside. Is that going to work? There's a little bit of body contact. But I think that Davis might get it done. He's had the outside run for turn 8. But no, hasn't done it just yet. And again, he looks at what's the inside again. More contact. Davis breaks a little bit later and forces his way in front. Gets it done. That checks over everyone behind him because Miguel Neto has had a great start also in P6 and already challenging. Across the line for the first time they come then. Strana leads by 0.4 of a second from Butcher in 2nd place. And then Tveit in 3rd, Davis 4th. And then the scrap going on for 5th between Shepherd and Neto, with also Robert Visimiller trying to go around the outside as well. They're 2x2 hurrah into turn 1. I love using that phrase. I'll probably use it even more during this race if I'm not careful. And down towards turn 2. And it's a 4 scrap. Shepherd gives him a punt. They're 3 wide through the corner, and Visimiller's come out on top. How on earth did Volt miss to manage that one? There's more bumping and boring through there. Neto up the inside gives Shepherd a shove. And through all of this, look at Jonathan Ossercliffe. What a start he's had up to 6th position. Where does Jonathan Ossercliffe come from? Incredible stuff from Ossercliffe for Optimum Sim Racing. And it's a fantastic 4-way scrap. Davis is broken away, so he's now thought, see you later, boys, I'm getting away from this lot. And Ossercliffe has just been the absolute joker in the pack and has gone straight up through the field into 5th and 6th position. Great stuff. Fifth, I should say. Looking back at the front, is there any change? There isn't any change in the front, so the top okay, but Butcher is closer to Strana than he is further away from Tveit. And he's actually looking up the inside. Strana's left the door open and Butcher's trying to capitalise on that mistake. But he can't get it done just yet. He's just staying close. That's exactly what he needs to do. Apply the pressure. As Tveit gets in the back of Butcher. Late braking from the Norwegian sends Butcher into a half spin, but he'll plant the throttle and get it back round again. I know Butcher's very vocal about driving stance, and I'm pretty sure he'll be foaming at the mouth in the cockpit of that Virtual Mini as they head back onto the pit straight once again for the end of the 2nd lap. So, top 3 still in close contention. Davis is in no man's land in 4th. Visimiller's up to 5th. And Chris Shepherd is also into 6th position. Ossercliffe is down to 7th. Is up to 8th. What a great start he's had also. It's quite ironic, those two. Oh, there's a huge accident! And there's that Lopez around. Was it Miguel Neto also? And there was also, I think, one of the Mad Cape cars was involved. My goodness, that was a huge one. Let's look at the replay of that. And I think what I saw... Wow, that was a huge one, and just someone went straight over, and that was one of the EKT Portugal cars, and I'm pretty confident that it was it must have been Miguel Neto. It must have been Duarte, was it Duarte Lopez? I think it may have been Duarte Lopez, but just the It was a huge accordion effect. And, wow, huge incident. And there was several cars in the aftermath that couldn't leave each other alone. But it looks like the hope that they've all sorted themselves out. I think it must have been Duarte Lopez, because he's right the way down the field. He's down in 25th. It was car 6, and Duarte Lopez was the car that went around. You can see the aftermath of that incident. So back to the front we go, and it's still Strana who leads, from Butcher in 2nd and Davis in 3rd. And then we've got, back in 4th is Toby Davis, 5th is Robert Wiesenmuller, 6th is Oscar Clint, and they're still going at it behind them. Because that pack is led by Chris Butcher. Madezewski's up there at 8th spot, so where's Toby Davis is still 4th. So that's looking better now for THR Orange over EKT Portugal. As Butcher pumps in a 38.5 fastest lap of the race, which is immediately duped by Eric de Veit several thousandths quicker. And I can see just behind, is that Callan and Neto going side to side? Yes, it is. Callan, car 68, the black and gold Walk racing car. He's got the line into turn 1. And Miguel Neto gives the place up. Oh, and more contact behind them. Was that? That's Amaral and Walker going side to side. And toe to toe by the looks of things. Because Amaral is now into 11th, and Jake Walker tried to make a move, but the two seem to have made contact. And Walker's come off worse by that one and had to sit behind in 12th spot. The field makes its way out of turn 3 and through the kink of 4. And they'll now charge down towards turn 5. And again we look at the battle for the lead. It's still Strana from Butcher in 2nd and de Veit in 3rd. Onto the back straight they come. As the rest of the field in the background come pouring through. Who said Virtual Minis was dull, eh? Not a chance. Every single lap it's action-packed all the way, and that's exactly how we like it at Touring Pro Series. And Toby Davis is in the pits, and so is Ben Hackerson. So they've obviously it's obviously a legacy of what happened at turn 1 with the large pile-up at the first corner. So Davis has had some problems. Oh, and Butcher leaves it too. Hits the back of Strana. Gives him a taste of his own medicine. Trying to make it 3 wide on the exit. It's quite ironic that Chris Butcher mentions about driving standards and then does that straight into the rear of Eric Strana. Incredible. So, I think Butcher's possibly getting a little bit frustrated because he wouldn't have done that normally. But either he's taken the theory of, well, if they're going to do it to me, I may as well do it to them. And I'm pretty sure the stewards are going to have a word about that one, as de Veit is really going for it down the pit straight into turn 1, forcing Butcher to go defensive. And de Veit was looking on the inside and then just thought about backing out and looked to the outside, but couldn't get the switch back on the exit. So I wonder if, due to that contact, if Strana's got any kind of rear suspension damage. It doesn't look as though he has. Because these Virtual Minis, they're sturdy little machines, these things. 200 horsepower they're packing, and they're reaching, as we said, speeds of up to 120 miles an hour down the back straight without the aid of a draft. So they've always produced fantastic racing, and these these generation of Mini Challenge works John Cooper Works race cars have been around since 2008, and they've been raced all over the world, including in Brazil, where they're very, very popular. We continue to look at the battle for the lead then. We'll keep an eye on that as Butcher is closing in once more. Whether or not there is a change, we'll keep an eye on the standings. Now behind, it's Wiesenmuller now holding on to 4th, ahead of Jonathan Osserklint, who's somehow survived all the carnage to stay in 5th. Chris Shepherd holds 6th, ahead of Thomas Madezewski in 7th, upholding honours for THR Orange. Miguel Neto is still coming under attack from Callan. A great run on the exit to try and relieve the Portuguese driver of 8th. And he has done, unless Neto can get back at him under braking. He's trying to force his way around the outside, and there was a bit of contact. But Callan just has a bit of a bump and run on the exit, and away he goes. And just behind them also Luis Fernandez in 10th. Jake Walker's up to 11th, and he has got past, it looks like, Pedro Amaral, so he has eventually made that move. And then we've got Pedro Amaral, of course, in 12th spot. What I really want to look at now is at the front, as Butcher now is looking again to the outside, so he really is applying the pressure and trying to force Strana into a mistake. But Strana doesn't make too many mistakes. And you can see on the back of Strana's car the huge indentation left by Chris Butcher's THR red machine. But already onto a third distance in this race, lap 6 of 18. And remember, we've still got one more race to go. We've still got another 18 laps of this after the first race is done. So the two main men in the championship, separated by just a point, are going toe-to-toe. But the difference is that Strana has immediate backup in the form of de Veit. There he is, the blue ice-cold machine with the Norwegian flag on the roof. And just in the background there, in fourth spot, that is Robert Wiesenmuller, Chris Butcher's teammate. But he's some 5 seconds back. As Strana's going to the inside, Butcher's thinking about a move on to the outside, run down towards turn 6. Will he be able to sweep across? Will he have enough confidence in the car to go around the outside? And the answer's not right. Strana has the inside run covered, but is he going to drift out wide on the exit? Yes, he is. Butcher might get a run now down towards turn 7. Will he be able to outbrake him? Last of the late breakers down towards the left-hand and hairpin. And can he get it done? There's still, they literally touch panels, and Butcher's through. Chris Butcher into the lead here at Campo Grande. And of course, it took him 6 laps to do it, and not the cleanest 6 laps, I should say. But, and Strana gave him a bit of a nudge through turn 9. So I wonder if there's going to be any repeat medicine, but I'm pretty sure if they're sensible and they're grown up about this, then they're not going to. It's not going to become a bumping match. So we'll wait and see how this is going to play out. Strana moving around behind with Tveit there for backup. Oh, and there was an accordion effect because Tveit hit the back of Strana, which then pinballed him into the back of Butcher, but only light contact. And I'm pretty sure with every hit that Butcher gets back on the back of his car, there'll be expletives from Chris's mouth in that very strong Yorkshire accent that he has. Doesn't really appreciate being hit, and he's, like I said, he's very vocal on the driving standards, as a lot of the members here know him for. Now then, Wiesenmuller still in 4th. And also Clint still doing a fantastic job in 5th place to hold on. Touring Sim Racing will be very happy with this one for car 93, as will Puppy Racing, because Chris Shepherd doing a fantastic job in 6th. There's a lot of curb on the inside, bit too much there, Chris. And also Thomas Madazewski's holding station in 7th. As for what's happened to Toby Davis, has he retired? No, he hasn't. He's down in 20th place. And Ben Hackson is also back down, but he's still in the pits in 25th spot. But still, we look at the front, as they were at the split. They were, look at that, 0.0. So you can hardly take your eyes off the battlers. Now, we see Strana looking to the outside this time of Chris Butcher, as Hackson leaves the pits again. So he's obviously been in the wars once again for the 2nd time in this race. And they're still going at it through turns 8 and 9. This is a fantastic, just what you want to see. 2 championship rivals going blow for blow, toe to toe with each other on the track for the championship. Of course, we've still got one more race meeting to go at Mid-Ohio, but it's still all to play for. And just one slip up from either of these guys could cause major implications for the championship race. Strana just closing in again as they head down towards, and just in the foreground you saw there, that's Ben Hackson. He's several laps down, it looks though, because of course he's had 1 or 2 problems. Now I just saw in the background, I think that Thomas Madazewski has tried to go around Shepherd and couldn't get it, but in the background also I can see this battle going on. The 3-way scrap continuing between Neto, Callan and Fernandez. That's the P8, and Fernandez tried to make a move but couldn't get that one done. So Neto's got around Callan. Can't quite remember if he's repassed him, but he certainly got around. There's Hackson again showing another pit time. So sure he hasn't been in the pits again. He couldn't have gone around that quickly. Either that or he really is suffering out there, is poor Ben, after a great qualifying. Mile Power definitely going to be hanging their heads after that one. Now then, quickly looking back at the front, because you cannot take your eyes off this battle. It's such an incredible scrap between Chris Butcher, the man from Yorkshire, and the Swede Eric Strana. As we said, Butcher's going to be hurting for that fact and score any points in race 2 at Taruma. And that's exactly the reason why he's now a point behind Strana coming into this race. But of course, if he can finish ahead of Strana, that's going to make all the difference. And it will put him back into the championship lead, temporarily at least, at the end of this race. We're now coming towards the start of lap 9, so we're only at half distance. We've got so much going on. It's been such a fantastic spectacle for these past 8 laps or so. And we've still got another 10 to go into the books. So, Butcher still leads it, but for how much longer? Because Strana might have a little bit of a look down the inside. Butcher covers the inside once again. But has he gone a little bit too deep? Because Strana's going to get the better on the exit. They'll run side by side. So actually sitting back to watch these 2 battle. And I'm pretty sure he'll pick up the pieces from any mistake that either driver makes. Brilliant racing these minis provide. They always have. In fact, the first race at Taruma, possibly one of the best we've ever had at Touring Pro Series. The magnificent scraps with a huge train of cars that we had by the end of the race. And that race was actually, of course, won by Eric Strana, who pulled off the mother of all over outside passes. Passed 2 cars on the outside of turn 1 at Taruma, whilst whilst in a sideways drift. It was absolutely magical. Now then, let's see if he can magic another pass up the back straight. He's in the slipstream. But being in the slipstream is one thing, actually making the pass is quite another. And Strana's having a go into turn 6. But is Butcher going to have enough grip on the outside to hold on? Yes, he does. Sweeps around the outside and forces Strana just to slot back in behind. And Tvite's been there, always there at the background, just being a rear gunner for Strana should anyone try to close in. What's disappointing for Butcher is that Wiesenmuller hasn't been able to touch these top 3 at the moment. He is 4th. He's pulled away by almost seconds from the pack behind. But he just doesn't have the ultimate pace to close in to give Butcher that support he needs, because Strana has immediate backup in the form of Tvite. You can see him there, of course, the blue and white ice cold car. But Wiesenmuller, who's right in the background in 4th, is just he's nowhere near in order to try and help him out. And I'm pretty sure must be thinking, Rob, where on earth are you? Come on, RW, I need the support here. I'm getting attacked here from all sides by ice cold machines. But unfortunately, his cries aren't being answered. He's having to fend off these 2 guys all on his own. Then again, if he can manage it, it will certainly be a fantastic drive to be able to not hold off just one rapid ice cold driver, but both of them at the same time will be absolutely impressive. Now, I suspect that Tvite, of course, is sitting back deliberately, not only to defend, but also because of the fact that it's Strana in the championship fight, not himself. So, and then we have looked at this league battle for quite a while, so we can't really take our eyes off it, as we said, because it could change in the blink of an eye. There's Wiesenmuller in the background, car number 1, in 4th. And I'm going to have a quick look away, but of course we'll keep an eye if you look at the standings on the bottom of your screen. If that changes, of course we'll be straight onto it and see exactly what has happened. Looking in the background towards the middle of the top 10. Osserklint still 5th. Field relatively unchanged. Shepard tried to make a move into turn 6, but the Frenchman has held on for the moment. Apologies if that is incorrect, because Osserklint, I think he is French. Shepard trying to make a move, locked up, and he's pushed Osserklint sideways. And Jonathan won't appreciate that at all. Not in the slightest. He's holding him up on the exit. Now then, he's gone a little too deep, and Shepard might get a better run off the pit straight. And look at that, he's sniffing around on the back bumper on the exhaust. Try and get this move done. And will he pull to the outside? Because Osserklint is holding that inside right. He's now moving across. Now, is that going to give Mataszewski a chance to make a move? Well, he's going to sit back and might take advantage if Shepard goes wide. There's another recording effect. And Shepard across the grass tries to just tag the right rear quarter of Osserklint's car. But he couldn't quite get it done that time. It's great stuff. And Shepard getting a little bit punchy in his first race here for Puppy Racing. And despite the fact that it is a pink and white car, nothing against that at all, incredibly impressive to see him up there in 6th in what affected his first race for the team. And he really has shown a turn of pace, as Mataszewski in car 10 in the what is at the moment the top THR orange car is still up there running in 7th. Brilliant run for him. Brilliant run for quite a few drivers you wouldn't normally see up near the front. All due respect to them, where it's needed. As for where the other THR orange car is, that's Toby Davis, and he currently sits in 16th spot. As teammate Mataszewski now is going to try and make a move. Now this is going to be for 6th position, and there is a bit of body contact, but it does seem as though that Mataszewski's through, and just in front there's a change for the lead. What's going on here? Now then, Strana trying to make a move again down the inside of turn 7. He's back up the inside again, but Butcher holds on to the lead once more. And Tvite is going to sit back and think, I may as well get the popcorn out of this race, because this is a fantastic scrap. And so should you watching at home too, because this is an absolutely great one between Butcher and Strana for the lead. As we said, what makes it more exciting, these guys are 2 immediate rivals in the championship. 1 point separates them, and Strana looking to go around the outside again. But if he can stay there, it'll give him the inside run for turn 2. Butcher just moves across to cover off any advance that Strana might have towards the left-hander. And it seems to have worked. For the moment, at least, because we know what Strana's like when he gets a chance to try and overtake. And if he can pull off a stupendous move, he will go for it. And Tvite just, again, still sat there, just not doing too much. As for Wiesenmuller, the gap is still, compared to his teammates, still about 5.5 seconds. And you would have thought with the rate that these three are fighting with each other, the easier it was going to be for Rob RW to close in. But it doesn't seem to be the case. Now then, another attempt for Strana. Outside pass this time, forcing Butcher to take that inside run. It was going to compromise and means a slower run. Now Strana going to sweep around the outside. He's going to have a go at it. But Butcher is going to hold on just for the moment. Side by side through turn 6. Strana somehow held it around the outside. Can he make the dive? Last of the late breakers into turn 7. He'll try and sweep across again. And again hold on the outside. And they're still running side by side on the exit. Strana might get an inside run. No, Butcher holds it, quickly moves to the inside to fend off the Swede once again. And Tveit is now giving his teammate the hurry up. And that's now also allowing Butcher to get a tiny bit of breathing space. That's exactly what he needs. Butcher can get himself just a small gap, just to get himself a bit of breathing space between him and Strana. That is going to be all he needs. But then again, as we know, with these small compact cars like the Mini and like the Clio, the aerodynamic effect is quite strong. Strana closing under braking again through turn 1. Look how close they are. 1, 2, 3. You can almost throw a blanket over all three of them. That close. As we continue to watch, look back and give some more exposure to some of the guys behind. And we've got a great scrap going on now between Shepard, Neto and Matazeski for P6. So the Portuguese driver throwing himself into the mix. And of course this is crucial for P5 in the Teams Championship. Oh, and I think Neto clipped the back of Matazeski's car and pushed him wide. And hasn't let the Portuguese driver through. So Matazeski continues on in 7th place. And of course it's a 5-point gap between EKT Portugal and THR Orange. So if Matazeski can hold on there, it will help him close in just a little bit more. Looking back down the order, we see Ryan Cowell in 9th place moving out in clean air, just to move away from the draft that Luis Fernandez may have, and Pedro Amaral down 11th. Dweevlar's only 12th down there, so the former champion not having the best of runs. Jake Walker's down in 13th, Ethan Bass is 14th, then we've got Carvalho 15th and Toby Davis still running in 16th spot. With Reece Gardner, Shell Stenbeck, Jimmy Hughes, Arshik Razvan, Duarte Lopez after his mistakes in the first couple of laps down in 21st. Lewis McGlade running his first race with his brand new wheel in 22nd. As Davis and Carvalho are swapping places in the background, I can see 15th and 16th. But I guess we should really look at the front and see exactly what's going on once again, because you really can't take your eyes off it. We now start lap 14. We're inside the last 5 laps here. Incredibly, this race has felt like it's gone on forever. But the amount of scraps that we've had going on has been fantastic to watch and fantastic to see as Butcher continues to lead and sustain and absorb all this pressure that's coming through from both Strana and Tveit. Tveit's not doing very much. He's just sat there and running it at enough pace to make sure he is in touching distance. Should Butcher slip up, or should Strana finally make the man from Yorkshire crack? Of course, this is the guy who won the Red Bull Gridsters Championship a couple of years ago, and of course has had very prominent races in TPS. He's taken victories, he's taken pole positions, but he might just lose the position here as now Tveit tucking in behind his teammate, who's now got an inside run. And Butcher, is he going to have to leave him room? He'll have to as they go down to the inside, and he's going to move around the outside again. And once more, it just seems as though that Butcher has enough confidence on the outside of the corner, but Strana does have a run up the inside. Is he close enough as he tries to move across? Strana outbrakes himself and there's contact, and Strana's back into the lead. Strana back into the lead at Campo Grande, and Tveit's getting in the action too. Tveit is right on the rear bumper of Butcher now, but that would be very important because of course now Butcher is the man that's chasing. It's role reversal. Hunter becomes the hunted as they charge down the pit straight once again. Strana now leading in car 71. Car 2 is Chris Butcher in second, and then just behind is car 83 of Eric Tveit in third, who darts out. Try and make a move on Butcher, trying to force his way out the inside. There's contact. Tveit pushes Butcher wide, and it's now an ice cold 1-2, and that will certainly have made Butcher's blood boil. He will absolutely be fuming away in that cockpit. He does not like overly deliberate contact, and he really is going to want to get his own back on for these guys. I'm pretty sure he'll have something to say about the driving standards later on as they head back down towards turn 5. And let's see, does Butcher leave Butcher? Oh, Butcher's giving him a nudge. I think that upped his temper a little bit, because Butcher's looking a little bit, races the wrong way. He's looking a little bit aggravated here. And what's intriguing, look at this. This is perfect. This is perfect for Ice Cold, because Strana is being allowed to pull away, and Tveit is causing headaches for Butcher to bulk his progress. And Butcher, how close could you get? He's almost literally going to force his way into the boot lid of Tveit's car. And was that a bit of a dummy, because Tveit almost ran a little bit too deep? Oh, and a huge shove there from Butcher. Wow, you have to agree that probably Butcher may take the view that if Ice Cold are to do it to him, he may be able to do it back. I'm pretty sure the stewards will have some stern words for all three of them. And of course, in touring car racing, of course, there is going to be some body contact. You have to be careful, because you have too much deliberate body contact. You have to be careful what you can get away with. As Butcher dives back up the inside, I think Tveit can see that coming, because Butcher goes too deep into turn one, and Tveit is back into second place. You can see Butcher starting to get a little bit desperate here. And this is exactly what you don't want from Butcher. He is just letting his temper and his emotions get the better of him. He needs to calm down in that car, and he does need to compose himself and think, right, okay, Tveit's in second, Strana's getting away. Making moves like that, desperate moves, and trying to get into the back of cars is not going to work. He needs to sit back, just cool his jets for a couple of seconds, and just think about what he needs to do in these last couple of laps to try and regain the positions he's lost to these two cars. Down the back straight once again, things have calmed down a little more, and Strana has already pulled out a 1.4 second advantage over his teammate and a further 4/10 advantage over Butcher. Strana is looking to try and equal the amount of wins that Butcher has taken this year, because of course Butcher has 4 victories, Strana has 3. And we will wait with bated breath to see how this one was going to play out. Looking back behind, there's Wiesenmuller in 4th. Now the gap is just under 5 seconds. And also Klimt is now in P5. P6 is now Matuszewski, who's now winning this battle ahead of Neto in 7th. Chris Shepherd, I'd say, is now in 8th, who just slightly is a little too late on the brakes, and that's now allowing Luis Fernandez into play in 8th and 9th. And then 10th now is Ryan Callan, with Amaral in 11th, and Peter Dweevlar slightly disappointing. I would have expected him to be a little bit closer up, but of course he may be possibly preoccupied with 1 or 2 more real world commitments. And he's now down in 12th. Of course, he was a Precision Motorsports driver, transferred to Walk Racing. Of course, he has been racing with Ryan Callan. There he is, car 68 in the foreground. And at least one car is in the top 10 for the moment. And if Dweevlar can find a little bit of pace in these final couple of laps, or at least for race 2, I'm sure that Karamadaru Andrei Bogdan, the team owner, will appreciate that very much, because it'll be much more needed points towards their tally in the team standings. There's Jake Walker, the only representative from Campfield Racing, as he does a bit of grass tracking on the exit of turn 2. Of course, he's in the Campfield Junior team, so no Adrian Campfield this race. Toby Davies back up to 14th after whatever happened to him in the first few laps, which caused him to pit. I'm pretty sure he was a major part in that first corner incident on around lap 3 or so, which saw one of the EKT Portugal cars, and I'm pretty confident that was Duarte Lopez. The fact that he's down at the back of the field does say to me that was Duarte who went up and over. Ethan Bass holding in 15th spot. Chris Gardner is holding in 16th for Smile Power Racing. We can scroll through. Arachuch Razvan in 17th for Walk Racing. 18th is Javier de Carvalho for Mad Cape, the South African. And then 19th, Shell Stenbeck. 5th is Jimmy Hughes. Duarte Lopez down in 21st. Lewis McClay still going in 22nd. A valiant effort in his first race with his brand new wheel. And then David Nannon in 23rd. Matt Emmons in 24th. And then Ben Haxon, 3 laps down, but unfortunately at the back of the field in 25th after several trips to the pits. So, race leader Eric Strana continues his advantage. He's on the last lap as they head towards turns 3 and 4. It's been a rather messy one at the front. A few pieces of deliberate contact. There are going to be words said afterwards between these 3, I'm pretty sure. Butcher does tend to let his temper run away with him a little bit. I think that's possibly what is hampering him in terms of his capabilities and the results managed to string together. Doesn't like being flustered in a race situation. And of course, there's no suggestion that the Ice Cold Boys are doing it deliberately. But of course, contact like that certainly not going to help things. But it has been quite a race. And Eric Strana is now racing on towards what will be equal amount of victories with Chris Butcher. Final couple of corners to go, and this will certainly put him with a bit more advantage in the championship. As short, there's still one more race to go. Butcher will have another crack at it in race 2, but for the moment, what a way to start off the weekend. It was a front row lockout for the team, and now as he exits the final corner, Eric Strana will make it 4 wins of the season for him to tie with Chris Butcher. He sprints towards the line and takes victory in race 1 at Campo Grande, with Eric Tveit, his teammate, across the line in 2nd place. Chris Butcher will finish in 3rd. And he is... Oh, no, was he making a beeline for Strana? Well, he certainly sprinted past Tveit rather quickly. Across the line, look at that. We had Reese Miller 4th, Osaklick 5th, Madazeski just sit. Look at the gaggle of cars that came across the line also. Apologies that we missed that. But Madazeski finishes 6th, Shepard 7th, Miguel Neto is in 8th, Luis Fernandez finishes 9th, and Ryan Callan rounds out the top 10. With Luis Fernandez in 11th. Pedro Amaral 11th, I should say. Drevlar 12th. Jake Walker finishes 13th. Toby Davis will finish in 14th spot, despite the fact he did qualify on the 2nd row of the grid. Ethan Bass is 15th for SimSpeed Racing. 16th is Smile Power Reese Gardner. 17th Arachik Razvan for Walk 2 Racing. Javier de Carvalho 19th. Shell Stenbeck in 19th, and Jimmy Hughes rounds out the top 20. One incredible race, a 1-2 for Ice Cold, and a 4th victory of the season for Eric Strana. We're going to take a quick break and then discuss all the fallout from that first race, head on to qualifying for race 2.
InsideSimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
And welcome back to live coverage of round 6 of the 2014 Touring Pro Series Virtual Mini Challenge here from Campo Grande. And it's Eric Strana, the current championship leader, who has taken his 4th win of the season with victory here in the first race from his teammate Eric Tveit, and championship rival Chris Butcher, who led for most of the race, couldn't pull off the victory after some rather intriguing pieces of contact between the 3 drivers at the front. And I'm pretty sure Chris Butcher will have something to say about that. Hasn't said anything yet in the server chat, but not too good. Just trying to work out what happened on lap 3, and apparently it was Ben Haxon got hit by an EKT Portugal car, and then it just seemed to be almost like an accordion, like a crescendo effect, and that ultimately led to Mr. Lopez going straight over and onto his roof. So that's the reason why he was back down the field. So, looking now, of course, we'll do a quick reminder, of course, of the next few races that are coming up here in the world of TPS as we wind down our Winter Series championships and look forward towards our break and then towards the summer championships. The next round race that we'll be seeing on your screens from TPS is going to be the next round of the Virtual Supertech Series. That's the penultimate round from the from Cascavel, I should say. Sorry, not Fuji. That will be at 10 to 6 this Saturday, early evening. As for Fuji, we are going there for the Virtual Touring Masters. That will be the penultimate round for them. So we head there on Wednesday at 7:45. Of course, the battle going on between Jesper Tolborg and Robert Wiesenmuller in the championship, Porsche versus Toyota. And then we head to Jyllandsringen in Denmark for the penultimate round of the Virtual Carrera Cup, where The questions that are being asked are: can anyone stop Tim Heineman's dominance? Can anyone stop Spade Racing's dominance? And can Tim Heineman possibly go on to increase his outstanding run of 8 victories in a row? If he wins both races at both Ringen and then at Bathurst, he will have 12 victories in a row. So that would be rather incredible if he can pull that one off, I have to say. So, moving forwards then. And we'll quickly just also tell you about the ways that you can keep up to date with everything at Touring Pro Series. Of course, it's TouringProSeries.com. All the latest info, including race reports from some of our very talented writers around the community. If you do want to keep in touch, you can also write to us and keep in touch on Facebook, facebook.com/TouringProSeries, where we inform you of all the upcoming events that are going to be coming to your screens. Twitter.com/Touring_Pro, if you are someone who is on Twitter. And then, of course, you also have youtube.com/TouringProSeries for any broadcast, all the broadcasts that you may have missed when it comes to all the broadcasts that we put out. Of course, all the broadcasts get updated in full in order for that one to be shown. Now then, we have actually had the championship standings updated. So what we will do is we will have a look at how they stand coming after the first race at Campo Grande, and this is live. They've literally just been updated. So Eric Strana then now leads with 252 points compared to Chris Butcher's 246. So that victory has allowed him to increase his gap by another 5 points. VC Muller is now on 199, so he's one shy of breaking 200. Peter Dweebler is now in 4th with 168. Eric Tveit is now 5th with 149, 9 points ahead of Rasmus Salo, who's not racing today. Toby Davis is now 7th, with Miguel Neto in 8th. Ryan Callan is now in 9th. Andrew Waring is in the top 10 with 95 points, but of course he is another driver who is not racing today. Also 11th is Alexander Lauritsen, again not present on 89 points. Luis Fernandez in 12th, with that result is jumped up to a single point behind the Dane. Jonathan Osserklint, who is actually Swedish, not French. I do apologise, Jonathan. I forgot your nationality on that one. I do apologise. He's 13th with 76 points, and also that's actually his best ever TPS result in what was 5th. So congratulations to Jonathan with that one. 14th is Adrian Campfield, of course, didn't race today with 52. Jimmy Hughes with 48 points. He's equal with Reece Gardner at the bottom of the top 15. So we now move forwards into qualifying. And we now move forwards into, if we now give you some pictures, see what's going on. So the cars now start to make their way out onto the track. There they go. And let's see exactly what's going to play out here. Now, of course, Eric Strana will be on form with a front row start and a victory here. And Ice Cold actually extending their run of victories here at Campo Grande, because it was in fact Strana and Tveit that took victories in both races in the minis last year. Strana won the first race, Tveit won the second. In Butcher's case, he came 6th in race 1 last year and 4th in race 2, behind Strana, who was actually 3rd as teammate Tveit went on to take the victory. So it's quite incredible that Ice Cold really are rising to prominence with very, very strong and very consistent Scandinavian drivers. You usually say the phrase is, if you want to win, hire a Finn. I guess in terms of TPS, not necessarily true, because effectively you can either hire a Swede or a Norwegian or a Dane, because all of them are strong in equal measure. Although I guess in terms of other sim racing circles, drivers like Gregor Hutu, of course, who is Finnish, I believe. Again, correct me if I'm wrong on that one. And I'm not quite sure what the Ice Cold are doing here. What on earth are Ice Cold doing here? They're kind of stacking up. Now, is that just them? That might be them just possibly moving to the inside to find a gap, possibly. Have to slot in so they can then run their tandem drafts for their qualifying laps. So ideally, Chris Butcher needs to get himself positioned and a front row start at, I thought at least. So either get himself onto the front row to get himself into a great chance of possibly taking a victory here and making it 5 for the season. And believe me, if you can grab that victory, it should put him back to within a point of Eric Strana. And again, they'll go to the final round at Mid-Ohio, and the double header of races there, again separated by one single point. And any slip up in either of those races, and also including any slip up in this race, either driver will certainly swing the advantage to their rival. So drivers begin to start setting lap times now, as we have already gone into a quarter of 10-minute session. And you can see that it's quite tricky. We have quite a few cars out on track at the same time. Sometimes can be a little bit tough for drivers to find space. That's possibly the reason why they were backing it up. Try and work out exactly what was going on between that lot. I have been messaged by somebody. Now then, this is intriguing. I've just been passed a bit of information by Adrian Holm, who's watching. So hello, Adrian. And he's told me that Savite has to be clean in this race, because apparently he is one endorsement away from having his licence being removed. Now, of course, we did see some very questionable moves and some questionable driving from, to be fair, all three of them. From Strana, from Savite, and from Butcher. And I think Butcher was more a retaliation to Strana and Savite's antics. But Savite especially is on thin ice. And that's no joke, even though that's no pun intended at all. This is serious stuff. Savite has to be clean in this race, as Butcher immediately sets the benchmark. Look at that, 138.515. He means business. As Strana and Savite make their way onto the pit straight, where are they going to slot in on their first lap? So they're going to go fast across the line. Strana goes fastest, 4.82. Savite third, 138.739. So Strana from Butcher and then from Savite. Shepherd is now into fourth. Another great single lap performance by him for Puppy Racing. Miguel Neto is fifth for EKT Portugal. He was. Brian Callan has just shot up to fourth on a circuit that he hasn't raced on for quite a while and doesn't know too well. And of course, there was the infamous incident last year with Jonathan Osserklint. And I'm pretty sure Jonathan will have secretly laughing to himself by the fact that he was actually finished ahead of Ryan in this race. Jonathan was fifth, whereas Callan could only manage 10th. Now then, several purple sectors by Strana, Shepherd, Neto, Bass, Fernandez, Gardner and Osserklint. They're all going purple in Sector 1, as you would expect. Dweeblar is 3.5 tenths up on his personal best in Sector 2. So we should probably look at Strana very quickly. As Tvite darts out to move out of the way, because he's given enough. And look at that! That's incredible. Strana is up in the second sector by 0.3 of a second. If he goes on this rate, he'll be on a 38.1. This is a storming lap from Eric Strana. A little bit of traffic ahead. That's one of the EKT Portugal cars. But if you can pull this one off, this would be a sensational lap. Dweeblar up to 4th, 138.775. Gardner's up to 8th, 138.860. Fernandez up to 12th and Carvalho up to 14th. But let's see what kind of lap that Strana can pull together. Small bit of a tow from the car in front. Here he comes across the line. Eric Strana with his lap time. Oh, 138.193. Storming lap from Eric Strana. Incredible. The Swede never fails to amaze. And Chris Butcher must be rubbing his eyes in disbelief at that time. Well, he is fast in Sector 1. He's now getting a tow now from his teammate, Robert Wiesenmuller. So, same tactics as Ice Cold are employing down the pit straight. I'm pretty sure, the back straight, I should say. Pretty sure we'll see Wiesenmuller to the inside very quickly before we get to the end. No, he doesn't. He leaves the inside open. And, oh dear, that's actually lost him time. So, somewhere down this second sector, Butcher's lost time. So, incredible. What a lap for Eric Strana. A 38.1. I'm pretty sure that's the quickest lap time we've seen anyone run here at Campo Grande across the whole 2-week period in practice. I don't know if there's anything quicker than what's been run on live races, because of course the site is down. Well, for me at least, so I can't actually see what's gone on with live races, but that's an incredible lap time. 38.1 in a Mini, that's incredible. Can't stop saying incredible, because it's just that fantastic. Butcher almost matches his best time, 38.563, still some almost 4 tenths off the provisional pole time. Miguel Neto's popped up to third from somebody. Where's he come from? Neto third fastest, ahead of Eric Tvite. Great stuff from him. Toby Davis is into 7th for THR Orange on a 38.7. Also, Klint is now in 8th. Can he try and improve possibly on his time? He's not on a personal best, so looks like this lap is not going to be best than 38.8. In fact, no, it's not. 39.4, so that's nowhere near his personal best. It's some 6/10ths off. Visimula is on a personal best in Sector 1, but only by about a tenth or so. And look at that, Butcher returning the favour. And Davis actually will get a double toe off both of his sister teammates down the back straight. So let's just watch this in action. Team tactics, live as it happens. Visimula then will get the draft. And is Butcher going to move out of the way and give him some space? Oh, not quite. In fact, Visimula actually lost 3/10 in that second sector. So there's something going on with THI in that second sector, which is going to lose all the time. Now, whether or not they're just getting unlucky with traffic, or whether or not it's something that Ice Cold have in their setup, which THR hasn't been able to find or utilise as well as Ice Cold have, that's allowing them to set these kind of lap times. Now, I can see that Tveit is currently 4th, but he's, again, as a lot of people do, has done a personal best in Sector 1. But it's Sector 2, really, which is the marker for if it's going to be a good lap or not. Visimula sprints to the line, does a 38.8, and stays 9th. He'll be on row 5 alongside Ryan Callan if it stays like that, with just over a minute and a half left in the session. And other drivers looking down the order see who possibly aren't as high as they should be. Duarte Lopez down in 22nd. Not as quick as he was last time around. Let's look at Lewis McGlade. Personal best for him at the moment. 24th. Up by almost 2/10. He's 1.8 seconds off the pace, but we should certainly give these lower down guys some definite exposure. As we said, Lewis getting to grips with his brand new wheel, his Logitech G27. Wish him all the best with it. And of course, Lewis actually does live stream his races for all to see, as do quite a few drivers in various leagues around the world, to give drivers kind of like an onboard live perspective of what they see during the race. Fantastic way to do it. And Lewis McGlade comes across the line and does a 41.015. So that is now a personal best for him, but he's still 24th. So, of course, this is very much a well-publicised test session in some cases for Lewis. Of course, getting used to his wheel, with due respect. I'm pretty sure with the 2 weeks gap he has between now and the final round at Mid-Ohio, he'll certainly get to grips with it a lot more. And, of course, the fact that he's going to be racing in the Virtual Supertech Series, again with Smile Power Racing. So he certainly has ample opportunities to get used to his brand new piece of equipment. And I wish him all the best with that one as he moves forward. Matt Emmons again still has set a time, but it's a 42.5, so he's quite a way down. Matt Richards has not set a time just yet. Drana has just sat in the pits and thought, I'm not going to bother going out again because there's no need to. Shell Stenbeck has gone to 21st with his time. And as we rotate the standings, if we can, there we go. Any more changes? Butcher's still... Oh, Tveit's gone to 2nd. As you're watching that, Tveit pumped in a 38.450 to go 2nd, as Tveit has now decided to give up on that lap and play with spotted drifting. Who can blame him? Toby Davis is on a quick lap. Again, quicker than Sector 1, but we gloss over that because effectively everyone seems to do that one. Now, it's now his turn to get a tow from Visimula. See how this works. Down the back straight they come. And also, Haxon and Fernandez are on personal bests on their laps. Top three are in the pits. They don't feel they need to go out anymore. Shepard's is out as well as Neto and Dweeloff. Fernandez goes up to 12th. Pushes Haxon down to 13th. And Davis is 2.5 or a quarter, maybe 3/10 of a second off the pole time. But it'll certainly put him in. Oh, and Davis on the grass on the exit, and that may have possibly lost him a lap, but he may have decided to continue. But what's intriguing is that Visimula is not moving out of the way. He's actually staying there and actually providing clean air the whole way around. But you would have thought that would have been a negative effect because, of course, if you're following another car very closely through the corners, it does take away aerodynamic grip. So I wonder how this works for the front-wheel drive car. But anyway, towards the line they come. Is Davis going to improve from 7th? The answer is no. 38.787. So he does improve his time, but not enough to even dupe Peter Dweevlar, who has gone to 6th with a 38.775. And I can't see anyone else who's out there on a lap at the moment who is still on track. So that is the set then for race 2, and let's quickly run through it. Eric Strana with a simply mind-boggling 138.193 takes pole position from teammate Eric de Veit. So now it's pretty much another ice-cold lockout, but it's now positions reversed. So Strana gets his turn at pole position with Tveit alongside. Butcher starts third, directly behind. That's going to be crucial for him to try and make a move. Chris Shepherd will start alongside him on row 2. Another strong performance for Puppy Racing in their first weekend in the virtual minis. Miguel Neto will start 5th with Peter Dweevar alongside in 6th. A much better qualifying for the former champion on row 3. Toby Davis will start 4th in row 4 in 7th. Not as high as he was before in 3rd in race 1. With Oscar Klimt alongside in 8th spot. Robert Visimula is quite a way away from his teammates in terms of support in 9th. But I'm pretty sure if he can get a very quick start, he'll be able to pick off a few cars at the beginning in the first couple of laps and try and get to the front as quickly as he can to be on the pace and giving Butcher that all-important backup that he needs. Callan will start alongside him on row 5 in 10th, and then Reece Gardner and Luis Fernandez will start on row 6, with Ben Haxton and Tomasz Madezewski in row 7. Row 8 is going to be Ethan Bass and Pedro Amaral, with Javier de Carvalho and Duarte Lopez on row 8, on row 9, I should say. 15th and 16th for Bass and Amaral on row 8, Carvalho and Lopez on row 9. Then Arashut Razvan and Jake Walker on row 10, Jimmy Hughes and Shell Stenbeck on row 11, David Nannon and Lewis McGlade on row 12, and then 25th on row 13, all by himself, or I should say, I thought he was, on row 13, is Matt Emmons. He's found a friend because he's got Matt Richards alongside him for company in 26th spot. Of course, ignore the multi-PC car, because that car is, of course, the one that's giving you the pictures that you see right now. So, of course, that car's not going to race unless it was a camera car. But nonetheless, what we're going to do quickly is step aside for 2 minutes, take a break, let these guys do their warm-up, and give you a quick message from Inside Sim Racing. We'll be back for all the action from race 2 of round 6 at Campo Grande for the Virtual Mini Challenge 2014. Stay tuned.
InsideSimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
And welcome back to live coverage for round 6 of the Virtual Mini Challenge 2014, live from Campo Grande. Cars are in warm-up with about a minute and a half to go before the start of race 2. And quickly an update of where you can find everything for Touring Pro Series, TouringProSeries.com for all the latest information on the website, Facebook.com/TouringProSeries, Twitter.com/Touring_Pro, and YouTube.com/TouringProSeries for all race broadcasts uploaded in full straight after you see them live here on SimSport. So about a minute and a half to go before we go to the race 2, and I've been joined by Mr. Ryan Callan. Ryan, not too bad, 10th in race 1. Of course, the memories from last year are probably still a little bit strong, but apart from that, I think you were one of the ones that were quite well placed to see what happened on lap 3 at turn 1. What could you see from your point of view? It was quite a crescendo, wasn't it?
I have absolutely no idea what happened on... Was it lap 2? Or was it lap 3? I don't know, but I have no idea. I just felt a hit, and then another hit, and then cars continued to fly, and I was like, what on earth is going on? I have no idea what went on. And I just kind of parked it on the edge of the road and waited till it all kind of stopped kicking off, and hoped to get too much damage. I did get quite a bit of damage, but I was lucky enough I wasn't the ones who lost lots of time. But in the race, I'm so rubbish at this track. It's so terrible. I just cannot carry... I don't know how to carry the speed around the corners. It's a very particular technique you have to use. You have to be off the brakes and the accelerator. But then you have to trust the car's not going to run wide as well with you throwing too much speed in. So I struggle to trust the car at this track, so it's a bit difficult. So 10th place, I was quite happy with that, really.
And of course, 10th place is where you start in race 2, so hopefully you'll be able to move up through the field. I guess a very quick comment, because we are quickly going to the race. I guess we should a quick comment on what happened at the front, because there was quite a lot of over-exuberant driving between Tveit, Strana and Butcher. Do you think that was possibly just its championship nerves getting through? Because, of course, there was quite a lot of bumping and boring from all three of them.
There's not much love lost there, is there, really?
No.
Between THR and Ice Cold, to be honest, or between Tveit or Butcher. I mean, Strana's usually somebody who keeps out of it, but Tveit and Butcher don't usually get too much... don't get involved that too much. So, I don't know, I didn't see it, so I couldn't comment, but... Championship's on the line, isn't it? So, but I'm going to have to go to the race now, because otherwise I'll miss the grid.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck, and hopefully you can advance on the grid and keep yourself out of trouble.
I will. Hoping trouble doesn't find me this time.
That's fingers crossed. Cheers, Ryan. Best of luck on that one. So, as Ryan Callan heads towards the grid, we're going to do the same, and we're going to head across if I can quickly get myself onto the grid. There we go. And look at the front, because we need to be looking at the front. There we are. Eric Strana pops himself onto his grid slot just in time. Give you some sounds as well, because we're not actually hearing the cars. Off we go. So, what can we expect from race 2? Well, hopefully we'll see some slightly cleaner racing from these three at the front, because of course they certainly put on a show. Whether it was the cleanest of shows, that's debatable. But of course, as Ryan just said, there's no love lost, especially between Tveit and Butcher. And of course, Tveit is on effectively his final warning. One more endorsement on his license, and he does get it revoked. So he's going to have to be careful out there today, and not get himself drawn into the fact that possibly Butcher could be out there to cause a bit of trouble and spoil the party for this man, Eric Strana. So we'll have to wait and see. Notable performances in qualifying. Again, Chris Shepherd in 4th. Puppy Racing looking with a very strong base here, a very strong start to their life as a team in Touring Pro Series. Miguel Neto should be very happy with 5th, as should Peter Dweevlar, who's back on form in 6th spot. Toby Davis down in 7th. Of course, it was good to see him back to qualifying form for race 1 at least. Let's see if we can keep it out of trouble. Jovan Oscar again continues to impress. I'm pretty sure he started outside the top 10 in race 1. And if that's the kind of start he can make in race 1, who knows where he'll end up by the end of lap 1 in race 2. Robert V. Muller, that's really lower down than he and Chris Butcher would like him to be, because of course the closer RW is to his teammates, the quicker he can potentially get up through the order and get up to give him some support. As we see, that's one of the KT Portugal cars off in the background on the grass. As possibly might be Duarte Lopez, and oops, someone else has gone off. There's that Razvan, I think, as well, and someone else at the back. It might be possibly Lewis McGlade on there. So, a bit of grass tracking for some of these guys. Callan in 10th, trying to keep himself out of trouble and keep the car on the road. So he's not a fan of Campo Grande, but of course, well, must be doing something right for him, because he is up there in the top 10, and there's always a chance to improve if he can get up there. Gardner, one of the wonderful-looking small power racing car. That's probably the best out of the liveries that there are. Although he's got his 2 associates for company, in Luis Fernandez and Ben Haxon. Haxon was very unfortunate. He was up there in the top 10 for race 1, but then just had a lot of problems. Took several trips to the pit lane, and that forced him to end up last and 3 laps down. So hopefully he won't be more of the same for him. But all remains to be seen. So as Eric Strana pulls the number 71 Escort car, just angling it a little bit towards the inside to try and cover off any advance that Butcher may have. But Butcher may see that, and he may possibly dart to the inside, which of course is Strana's right, if Strana moves across to expect him to try and cover it off his teammate. They're all angling against the middle of the track then, but again, all set for 18 laps. The second race here at Campo Grande. Here come the lights. 4 and then 5 red lights. Revs rise for the second race here at Campo Grande. Lights are away, and we're racing here for round 6 of the Virtual Mini Challenge. Top 3 all the way fairly cleanly. Some bit of jostling in the background, in the middle of the pack. And look at that, Butcher just looking out on the outside towards Tveit as they head into turn 1 for the first time. Oh, there's more contact started already. I think possibly Shepherd gave Butcher a nudge, which then in turn got him into the back of Tveit. But as they head out of turn 1 for the first time, all relatively clean, which again is a surprise for TPS, especially by mini standards. But the two ice-cold cars lead Strana from Tveit as it was before. So top 3 is as it was, but Shepherd is already giving Butcher cause for concern in 3rd and 4th spot. Neto's 5th. Dave's up to 6th. Reese Muller's dropped the spot already down to 10th, behind Ryan Callan. And Davis is still 7th. Oscar hasn't been able to move up in 8th. Oh, there's more contact! Now, was that Neto hitting Butcher? I think it was. Butcher's now gone off. He's back several spots. He's down to 7th. That is disastrous, and he will absolutely be livid in that cockpit as the 2 ice-cold cars pull away straight away. So we get a quick replay. don't get a replay just yet, but they're still going 2 by 2 down the back straight. Neto and Davis going for 4th and 5th, and Dweebler and Ottercliffe doing the same as they all scoot through at once. There goes Butcher trying to go around the outside of Jonathan Ottercliffe. That's going to be for 7th. He loses another spot to the Swede, and down on the brakes for turn 7 and 8. Dweebler holding station, and they're all going to get through safely. Well, let's all keep fingers crossed. No, they're not, because he gets sideways. He hits the side of Dweebler. It's kicking off already. As now, Dweebler now holds on his own 4th. Shepard's up to 3rd. Shepard's pulling away. Look at that. He's pulling away straight, streaking away. As here we go. Let's compose ourselves here. Strana now leads. That's the right 2nd. Shepard 3rd. Then it's all chaos behind. Dweebler just ahead of Neto as Davis and Butcher go side by side. They're almost 3 wide. Oh, Neto hits Butcher, who then hits... No, Neto hits Davis, who then moves across and hits the front of Butcher. And through all of that, Dweebler gets around all of them. It says, thank you very much, 5th position. As now Neto back up the inside. Hits the side of Davis and pushes him wide. And now they're still fighting. And the pack is still all close together. A couple of cars have dropped back, you can see in the background. That's possibly, I think that's Stenbeck and McGlade. And as they all start to shuffle themselves around a little bit more. Let's see. Oh, Neto's got a run. Davis tried to move across, realises the Portuguese man's there. And oh, and Neto gives... there was a huge shove. A couple of cars off in the back there. That's Callan and also Haxon and Fernandez are all going off into the grass. Incredible stuff. And down the front they go. I think already, has he lost his front bumper already? Either that or that's just how it looks. As now we can see, oh, Davis and Callan get going into combat. Neto up the inside of Butcher also. The 2 ice cold cars running away with it as if it's nothing. Oh, and still a scrap going on between Neto and Butcher. And still, you can see that's Callan Davis also going toe-to-toe also. Great scraps going on down the field around the top 10. As we can see, Davis has lost a place to Callan. Also, Clint is staying close as well. Oh, is that Dweebler running wide? Dweebler ran wide through the apex. I'm sorry, I'm switching through the cameras very quickly. But here we go then. So it's still Strana from Tveit, half a second gap between them. Then it's Shepard in 3rd. He's pulled away by almost about a second and a half. And Butcher in 5th. This is exactly what he needs. He doesn't need to be stuck behind in the top 5 and falling behind the likes of Dweebler and Shepard and letting Strana and Tveit pull away. As now we look at Davis and Callan still going side by side off of turn 1. These two, of course, they're friends off the track, but on the track, I wonder if these guys are going to be just another rival to each other. Callan a little wide on the exit of turn 2, but he holds on to his momentum and uses all the tarmac on the exit. That's what it's there for. Let's see how it's all shaken out. So Davis is now in 8th ahead of Osicklin 9th, Madazeski 10th. But for how much longer? Because here goes the 2nd THR orange car trying to make a dive around the outside, and it hasn't worked. And in fact, he's actually lost him another place in the process because there goes Wiesenmuller up the inside. Now, looking here, that is Butcher now still 5th. Neto's just behind. And I can't help but feel that Butcher's going to feel aggrieved here at the fact that he's having to almost watch the 2 ice cold cars just drive away from him in the front. Exactly what he doesn't need. Oh, with Dweebler running a little too wide through turn 6. Through turn 7, I should say, sorry. No, that is turn 6, sorry. Getting my corners mixed up. Back under brakes. Neto very late on the brakes there and almost had to get it, almost couldn't get it stopped, but managed to anchor up that EKT Portugal car in time for turn 7. Now through turns 8 and 9. There you go. And the train continues as they now haul themselves up the hill out of turn 9 through the kink and back onto the pit straight. So we now start lap 4 of 18. As the train, look how close they're all together. This is fantastic. No first corner dramas on lap 3 this time. What about now though? They're all staying single file, but taking a tighter run through turn 1 to try and close in on Dweebler, who in turn has closed in on Shepard. And Shepard hasn't been allowed to get away too far, and Dweebler has enough pace in race 2, at this point at least. Oh, and Shepard's run onto the grass, but gets it all collected back up again and remains on a podium place. And how amazing would that be for Chris Shepard? Only his 2nd race for Puppy Racing, and only for their 2nd race in TPS, to grab themselves a step on the rostrum. That would certainly give them a motivational boost. Dweebler still 4th, car number 3, ahead of car number 2 in 5th. And they continue to funnel through. Then Neto, Callan, Davis, who we're looking at now in the centre of the picture. Just behind there is Jonathan Osclint in 9th, under attack from Madazeski in 10th. And then Wiesenmuller back in 11th spot. and really not being able to offer the support that Butcher needs right now. Looking at Amaral and Fernandez over 12th and 13th. Jimmy Hughes back in 14th spot. As Fernandez takes a look up the inside of Amaral. And a bit of body contact. Fernandez gets the job done. So that's into 12th spot for the Smile Power driver. As they're still going at it in front. That's Wiesenmuller getting to the back of his sister team at Madazewski, who's now trying to go around the outside of Osserklint. There'll be space on the outside if he can get it done. But they're all closing up now. It seems to be that the man who's the stopgap is actually Osserklint, because look at this. We're seeing Tveit, well, Strong and Tveit are running away with it anyway, so we can leave them for the moment. It's this fantastic scrap down the bottom end of the top 10 that's going on here. So Osserklint there is car 93. Then car 1 darting out is Robert Wiesenmuller. It's a lunge down the inside. Brakes too late and allows Osserklint to get the switch back on the exit. And also we're now looking at Wiesenmuller now defending from Matazewski. Oh, and Amaral got a clout from Fernandez. Jimmy Hughes for Madcape gets himself into the action, and he hits the side of Amaral's car, forces him out onto the tarmac. I'm sure the Amaral won't appreciate that too much. And you can see also that is Razvan having a great run in 14th. He's battling away with Fernandez, who has lost about 3 spots in the space of a couple of corners. Razvan up the inside of Amaral, return 5. Madazewski takes to the grass. Oh, behind! That Carvalho got a shove there. I think it was from Duarte Lopez. So close to going around as they continue to battle down the bottom end of the field. That's Ethan Bass and Ben Haxton down the 19th spot. So he really has had another terrible race down the front here. Meanwhile, we've got Amaral battling away with Jimmy Hughes. Oh, and Fernandez hit the side of Razvan, and that just cannonballed him into the side of Amaral. So very close, very lucky not to get cannonballed and fired off into the grass on the exit of edge of turn 7. How's it looking up at the front? Because I think they might have closed up a bit more. They have. Oh, you can hardly take your eyes off anyone, because these guys really are putting on superb racing. The Virtual Mini Challenge definitely a brilliant display of awesome virtual touring car racing. One of the best in the business, in my opinion. And that's not me being biased. And we're going to continue watching for the moment Amaral and Hughes down the pit straight, because of course we're going to have to quickly look at the front. They're still going at it. Hughes makes the move, and it's up now to the spot. Good job. And also Haxton's got around, looks to me, Javier de Carvalho. And Hughes again, look at the inside. Amaral tries to turn across, finds Jimmy Hughes up his inside. And couldn't quite get that one done, Sunshine. Oh, and Razvan got a shove out as well for, I think, Fernandez. Yes, he did. And he's now been dropped back to 15th spot. Right, we'll leave you guys for the moment to try and scrap amongst yourselves. Now then, here's what we want to see. Battle for third. Let's give you an onboard cam. We haven't seen too much of those in race 2. Race 1, here we go. Looking back now from Chris Shepherd. There's Peter Dweeblar, car number 3 in the black and gold walk racing machine. Just getting ever closer. Can he get himself onto a run for turn 7? No, he backs out on the braking zone and can't get it done. As you see just behind there, Chris in 5th spot. He needs to be high. He needs to try and minimise the damage that Strawn's going to be doing to his championship chances. It just seems to be that he's always the bridesmaid, but nearly the bride when it comes to championship victories. He was close last time out when it was between himself and Wiesenmuller. And Wiesenmuller actually disappeared. Where's Wiesenmuller got to? 18th spot. What's happened to Wiesenmuller? Apologies if you haven't caught that, but Robert Wiesenmuller's dropped down to 18th spot, so he's way away from where Chris Butcher needs him to be. So battle for third then, but Shepherd still leads. He's still in third spot in car 74. Then of course we look at Peter Dweeblar in 4th spot. Butcher in 5th. We've got Miguel Neto in 6th, and then Ryan Callan in 7th, holding on to this train, with Toby Davis breaking free and trying to go with them in 8th place. Oh, Shepherd again wide on the exit of turn 2, as are both, it looks as though, Davis and Callan. But we continue to watch this fight as the 5-car train makes its way down towards turn 5, and they turn their way through the left-hander. They're doing some 85 miles an hour through, no, 55 miles an hour in 3rd gear through there. Whoops, standings have gone up. Apologies for that one. And down the straight they go once again. So, Shepherd, Weavelar, Butcher, and then Neto and Callan. That makes up the 5 cars scrapping over 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. Here they come. And Davis is also trying to close in as we've lost Javier de Carvalho, so he's out of the race, unfortunately. Portuguese driver for Mad Cape, no, the South African driver for Mad Cape. And that's not good for him. As they head into the end of lap 7. And already you can see that how time has flown. And look at that, you can see in front the 2 ice cold cars are just running away with it. As now we watch Dweevlar, who really has got the toe he needs on Shepherd. Pulls to the outside. Can he get the move done to move into 3rd place? He's going to be better on the brakes. We'll find out. Trying to sweep his way around on Shepherd's left-hand side. Can he get the better run on the exit on the throttle? I think he might just be able to do it this time. And yes, he has. Dweevlar takes 3rd. Shepherd has to sit now. Also cannot, but he's in nowhere being allowed to relax because Butcher is straight onto him. Look at that. On his back, closer than a white van man on the M25. Would you believe it? So Butcher now, as Ethan Bass has also gone as well. We've lost Ethan Bass from the standings, so we've lost quite a few cars. In fact, we've lost anyone else? We have. We've lost Matt Emmons and also Jake Walker. So 4 cars have gone missing in this race. Down the back straight they come once again. Dweevlar with the clear air, Shepherd with the toe, and Butcher with a double toe. Is he going to think about making a move at all here? Butcher goes to the right. No, Shepherd goes to the right. Butcher stays left. Butcher now has his nose up the inside. Shepherd will have to give him room. But he's not got much of a choice because Dweevlar's on his outside. They're almost going to go 3 wide into the complex at turn 7. Butcher's got his braking a little too wrong. And that allowed Neto to close in. So 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th are all going at it as you see it on the screen. Oops. Just with a bit of contact on the back of Dweevlar. And almost did it again. But now look at that. Exactly the same scenario once more. The Shepherd now is under attack from Neto. Shepherd is under attack from Butcher, who himself is under pressure from Neto. Let's see how he deals with this one. Back towards turn 1. Neto looking to the outside for 5th place. But Butcher's more focused on trying to keep up with Shepherd and Dweevlar. And he knows if he can just pick away and get past and break away from these two, he could do something to try and close in on Tveit and Strana, but it might just looking like it's going to be too late if he does manage to break away. The fact that he's caught up in traffic with these guys for position is not helping him at all. Can't be doing his motivation any good either. But he has to try and stay positive. But trying to stay anything is going to be quite tough, especially when you've got Miguel Neto breathing down your neck. Oh, he's done it again, and Neto's getting a bit cheeky. They did that quite a few times in race 1. And he's done it once. He's done it once already in race 2. So I'm pretty sure that Chris Butcher's not his biggest fan. Down the back straight they come then. 120 miles an hour these minis touch without the draft. With, I'm pretty sure it'll be a little bit higher, so like 125 maybe. And they sweep through turn 6 once again. This long left-hander, slightly banked. You can see the camber there. And once again under brakes, and Shepherd left his brake a little too late. The door open for Butcher on the exit if he's got enough room. I'm not sure he has. No, Shepherd has the inside covered off. Now the man from Yorkshire will have to try again. Whether or not that's going to work this time, remains to be seen. Now, back onto the pit straight. Dweevlar's broken away, so Shepherd doesn't have the luxury of a toe anymore. Butcher and the chasing pack behind do. And incredibly, Ryan Callan's brought himself into the mix now, so it's once again a 5-car scrap as Butcher again goes up the inside. Had a look, but Shepherd had it covered, and maybe didn't realise that Butcher was that far up the inside, or just simply covered the line, and Butcher got a bit too ambitious. Now then, we've got what have we got here? Javier de Carvalho. Asking where's John. I'm not sure where John is, unfortunately. I think he wasn't able to make it. Down towards turn 5 they come again, and this time Butcher's got it wide. He's gone a little bit sideways, and that's let Neto through. She's lost another place this time. This is not working. She's down to 6th, but he got him back on the exit, and they are going to run side by side. But Neto has the advantage of a toe from Shepherd. Butcher's out in clean air. He doesn't have any kind of advantage, but somehow Butcher's staying with him. on the insides. They run side by side down towards turn 6. And Butcher's going to get it done, I think, unless Neto can hold it around the outside. Not this time, and Butcher gets the place back again. And Callan's looking very racy, also in 7th spot, car 68. And Neto back up the inside, there was contact. Oh, Neto's pushed him wide again, and that was in full view, ironically, of Ryan Callan, the series administrator. As well as a racer, he does look after all the administrative side of things of TPS, so I'm pretty sure that Neto is probably going to come under the microscope from one or two of the hierarchy of TPS if he carries on that too much. Then again, Callan annoys Butcher even further. Then that's not really going to put him in a good mindset for Mid-Ohio in 2 weeks. And Butcher's going to have to be careful here because he can't get away with anything. Callan sat there breathing down his neck, both in a steward's sense and a driver's sense. And again, Shepherd using a little bit of that grass on the exit. Toby Davis isn't too far away either. In 8th spot, just watching and waiting. Drivlar's, there he is in the foreground. A couple of seconds up the road. 2.2 to be exact. And then Shepherd turns his way through. Neto. And then Butcher. Oh, Callan's got his nose up in there as well. May have just skimmed the left rear quarter. And Callan darts in behind to get the toe. As we said, these small little minis, they're very prominent in a straight line in the slipstream. It's easy to gain a toe if you can get it. Butcher to the inside. Oh, there's more contact, and the two of them having a bit of a tussle. And Butcher will get his nose in front by the time they leave the corner, which he does. Neto will try again. Oh, turns across. That was very cheeky from Neto because I'm pretty sure he knew Butcher was there. More contact as Callan gets involved. It's a three-way collision. And Neto's getting involved. And look at Davis also. Oh, Davis has turned around Callan. Oh no, he's hit Butcher. No. Oh, Chris Butcher's into the barriers. That was disastrous, and that was all caused by his own teammate. I do not believe that. Toby Davis hit Ryan Callan, who then got pinballed into the grass and eventually ended up hitting the side of Chris Butcher. That is absolute disaster. Toby Davis must be sat there with his head in his hands thinking, what on earth have I done? We've got to see a replay of that. Have to... So you can see here. So, starts with Neto turning across on Butcher. They go 2 wide. Callan gets his nose up the inside and tags the back of Butcher, who then goes across the front of Neto. They run 3 wide. Neto gets in front. Butcher's second. Callan tries to move across when he couldn't go around the outside. Hit by Davis. Callan goes straight across and Butcher's the innocent party there. I think he just kept it off the barriers. But poor Chris Butcher. What does he have to do to get any kind of luck in any kind of championship fight? Finds himself back down in 9th spot as he's lost another place to another of his teammates, Thomas Madaszewski. Dear oh dear. And ironically, oops, that's the sky. And they're still going at it between Davis and Callan. Look at this. I wonder if Callan wants revenge, because he won't be happy with this after that one. Back up the inside they come. Oh, he's trying. Pushes Davis wide a little bit. Davis tries to turn across and hold the line. And slots back in again. Now then, is there going to be repeat antics here than what there was a lap ago? Not quite. They're going to settle down a little bit more this time. But Davis won't forget that. And certainly neither will Chris Butcher in the background there, at the head of the train of cars behind Thomas Madaszewski. Someone's bodywork in the middle of the track, piece of bodywork in the middle of the track on the pit straight. And because of all of that, it's now allowed both Chris Shepherd and Miguel Neto to pull away and hold on to 5th and 6th positions. And whilst we look at that, I guess we should effectively check in with our 2 men at the front, because we've hardly talked about them all race. Strada and Twice just running their own race. It's just an ice-cold racing demonstration, because they are just up at the front, easing away. They've got a 6-second advantage over Dweeblar in 3rd place, and they are just cruising away, potentially to another 1-2 victory. Strada will get more points, certainly taking quite a sizable championship lead going into the final round at Mid-Ohio. There's Dweeblar in third place. He's pulled away from all the mishaps behind, and he's now 6.5 seconds away from the leader, but he's now himself about 2.5, 3 seconds ahead of this scrap going on still between Shepherd and Neto. Neto likes his late braking moves, and that hasn't worked that time. Either he's having problems with his brake pedal, or just doesn't seem to know where what a braking zone is. But Callan and Davis are still going toe to toe over 6th position, and Tomasz Madezewski's not too far away in 8th. There's the very much aggrieved Butcher soldiering on in 9th, but I can't help but feel that he's going to feel rather deflated after this end of this race. Tried his best, but just can't seem to get any luck when it comes to being in a championship fight. You really have to feel for him. And meanwhile, just behind, here's an intriguing scrap. Jimmy Hughes on the left in the red and black Cape, the Mad Cape car, and Ben Haxon trying to go around the outside in the purple and black Smile Power Racing machine with Archich Razvan in 12th. Great run for him in this race. Up there in and around near just below the top 10. And of course he'll pick up the pieces if these two come to blows. Quick look behind as well. There's Wiesenmuller rejoining back in 13th spot. We can ask him about what happened in race 2, what happened to him. My guess is he's possibly had some contact at some point, and that's forced him around. As there goes Razvan up the inside of Haxon. And a daring move to 11th. Or has he? Because, there's more contact. I don't think Razvan realised that Haxon was back up the inside. And Hughes ran wide on the exit, which now means that Razvan gets a tow. Potentially Razvan, if he plays his cards right here, could be looking at a top 10 finish. When he goes to the outside this time under braking, he's certainly going to think about it. He's definitely thinking about it, because look at that, he's trying to go around the outside, but again, can't get that done. And Haxon getting back up on the inside. And no, he's on the outside this time. Razvan, is he going to hit the brakes a bit too late? No, gets it stopped in time all across the curb. Haxon just gives him a small tap. Continue on in their battle over 10th, 11th and 12th. The final top spot is what they're contesting. And of course now this is also bringing Wiesenmuller and Fernandez into play. And I saw there that Hughes' exit wasn't as quick as Razvan would have hoped. And they kind of checked up into the back of him, and that allowed Haxon to get the run that he needed. And he will look to the inside this time. Hughes covers off the space, and Haxon typically outbrakes himself and allows Razvan to get straight back through again. Oh, and they're still going at it. Two huge clouts into the side of each other, like a boxing match rather than a race between these two. Back to your corners, gentlemen. And they still continue at it. And look at this. As I've said so many times, the harder these three fight each other, the easier it's going to be for the likes of Wiesenmuller and Fernandez to close in. As they're still going at it between these three. Razvan in the middle. Hughes has outbraked himself, run a little too wide through the middle of the corner. And that now gives Razvan the chance that he needs. And he'll seize it down the back straight. Hughes is going to have the better outside momentum. But Razvan has track position. And behind, Wiesenmuller's getting involved. As Haxon's now under attack from the German. And get ready for two position changes. There goes Razvan up the inside of Hughes into P10. And as for Wiesenmuller, still trying up the inside of Haxon. Will he get him on the exit? Well, maybe. He'll try again into turn 7. Haxon moves across to try and cover. It's too late. Oh, and he gets hit by his own teammate. Oh, Luis Fernandez, what are you doing? Ben Haxon gets a whack from Luis Fernandez to get him round the corner. Not sure if he's going to thank him at all. But this is a fantastic scrap for these 5. Oh, more body contact. Hughes is back through. Haxon's going to get another chance to reclaim 11th spot now from Razvan. And Wiesenmuller's going to try and also make it 3 wide. Will he make it 3 wide? Pulling to the inside of Haxon, who himself is going to try and attack Razvan. Under braking for turn 1. Wiesenmuller up the inside. Small bit of contact. He's almost out of shape. But I think Wiesenmuller's done it. Yes, he has. Into 11th spot. 12th spot, I should say. Sorry. Oh, and Haxon left his braking a little bit too late. Possibly in annoyance of the fact that Wiesenmuller had to use him as a chock to try and get him round the corner. And... oh, hold on a second. There's something happened here, because I'm just seeing Tvite's dropping down the order. So Eric Tvite is dropping down the order. What's happened to Eric Tvite? Tvite's gone. Eric Tvite is gone. He's out of the race. That's a disconnection, I'm pretty sure. No, he's there. Oh, okay, that's... it's not a disconnection, it's actually a huge amount of lag. I do apologise. I wasn't sure if it was a disconnection, because I saw Dwight tumbling down the order. But it does mean that Dwight is suffering from connection problems here. Now then, this could be intriguing. It now means that if he does drop down the order and eventually disconnect, Dweevlar will get second, and Miguel Neto, who's winning the battle between himself and Chris Shepherd, will end up in third position. As we'll keep an eye on that one, because Dwight's not gone back up the order yet, so we'll have to wait and see. He's dropped all the way down. He'll probably shoot up back to second across the line, which he does. And we go back to this awesome battle between these guys here. Butcher's run away with it, because he obviously wants to get on with his race. But Visa Miller's coming out on top for the moment, as we now watch. That's now Hughes and Haxon and Fernandez. And where's Razvan got to? There's Razvan. Now, what's happened to him? Did he go straight on, or was it lag? Or maybe not, but he's obviously had some contact with somebody, and that's forced him to drop back. As they're still going at it, look at this, and also it's now brought in Duarte Lopez and Reece Gardner into the mix. Visa Miller's bolting, he wants to get on with it and hold on to 10th. But it's also Scott. Oh, and Haxon gets shoved onto the grass by Hughes. Fernandez gets his nose up the inside to try and make the move himself. And here comes Lopez and Gardner. So 2 more for the party, boys. Way, let's get involved as well. Fernandez looking to the inside of Hughes. Can he get the job done this time? Up the inside of into turn 5. Oh dear, that's a little bit risky. Hughes over all across the curbs. They're going to go 3 wide down the back straight. And look how they run now. Hughes on the left, Hax in the middle, Anders on the right, and Lopez getting himself into the middle as well. It's a 4-way scrap. This is awesome stuff for 11th place. Here they come, charging down towards the left hand. Oh, Hughes hits the side of Lopez. Hughes gets sideways, and thanks to the front-wheel drive nature of this Mini, plants the throttle and keeps that car pointing in the right direction. Incredible stuff. Hughes is out of shape again. Contact with, I think, was that with Gardner possibly, the Australian. The 2 small power guys going into combat. Fernandez and Haxon. Lopez is going to get involved. Checks up, bit more of a accordion effect, gets sideways through turn 9. And now back onto the pit straight. They're onto the last lap now, so we'll have to go back to Strana and Tobias in a moment. But as these guys continue their duel, we'll quickly look to the front, because of course we'll see exactly where Strana is. He's quite a way away up the front. He's already up towards come towards turn 5, so we'll keep an eye on them. Dweevlar 3rd, Neto's 4th, and now we've got Shepherd in 5th. But still, a great scrap going on between Callan and Davis over 6th position. Callan's 6th, Toby Davis is 7th, Madazewski's and Butcher's now 9th. Of course, lacking in points to what he would have wanted for these championship chances. Visa Miller's 10th. These guys seem to have calmed down a little bit, although we see Jimmy Hughes has dropped back another place because he is now under attack from Reece Gardner. Gardner up the inside this time. Is he going to make the move? I think he has. Yes, he has. So into 14th. Jimmy Hughes drops another spot and he's down there as Razvan's in the background as they all settle down for the moment. And Hughes is going to possibly have a look at a move. Also possibly Lopez on Haxon. But we look back to the front for Eric Strana. And how about this? He will go to Mid-Ohio in the best possible position to get himself, I think, his first TPS champion. If not, he'll be champion again. Up towards it to start and finish straight. It's 2 from 2. He doubles up once again. 5 wins in the mini challenge for Eric Strana to continue and strengthen his championship lead. He wins race 2 at Campo Grande from Tavite in 2nd place. And Dweevlar gets himself onto the podium for Walk Racing. He's very happy with that, and so he should be. Neto 4th. Chris Shepherd, another excellent result for Puppy Racing. 6th for Ryan Callan, he put away from Davis in 7th, and Davis very courteously lets, and so does also Madazewski, they both let Chris Butcher through, so Butcher will get 7th. It's at least some consolation for the fact he did lose quite a few points after that contact when he did get hit by Ryan Callan. Thanks to the contact between Callan and Davis. Madazewski is in 9th with Davis 8th. Visa Miller rounds out the top 10, and just with all this lot, it was 11th for Fernandez, 12th for Haxon, 13th for Lopez. Hughes did get past Gardner for 14th. Razvan finishes 16th. Also Klimt is going to be 17th. After not the 5th place he got in race 1. Richards is 18th. Waiting for, is this Lewis McGlade, I think? I think it may be. Oops. It's David Nallen, in fact, who's decided to go a bit of grass tracking across the line. Didn't know this was Rallycross, but there he goes. Finn Allen then promptly sticks it into the barrier. Very good. And Lewis McGlade brings it home in 20th. Well done on his first weekend with the wheel. He will surely improve, and he'll get used to that across the championship. And of course, we lost our drivers over the course, but look at that. Eric Strana with 2 victories and another double 1-2, a double 1-2 in fact for Ice Cold. They'll be very happy with that, and of course it will mean that they are in a strong position to not only possibly take the Drivers' Championship with Strana, but also, in fact, Ice Cold put themselves in a great position to potentially go forwards into the Teams' Championship. There are the final results, and Strana wins from Tveit second, Duvlar third, Neto with a great result in fourth, same for Shepard in fifth, Callan sixth, Butcher seventh after he was let through by both Davis and Madezewski in the final couple of corners, and Robert Wiesenmuller rounds out the top 10. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll get the drivers in here and get their thoughts on both races today. Be back in 2. That's Campo Grande's race is done. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment with the drivers.
InsideSimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
And welcome back to what has been 2 fantastic races here at Campo Grande for round 6 of the Touring Pro Series Virtual Mini Challenge 2014. Eric Strana doubles up once again. The second time he's done that because, of course, he took 2 victories in Jacarapagua. The circuit that's very similar to Campo Grande in layout and how it looks, and how it drives at least. So, we have, of course, the final rounds at Mid-Ohio. But before that, we have, of course, the rest of our races that are going on in the next couple of weeks around TPS as we close in on the end of our 4 Winter Championships. The next race you'll be seeing on Touring Pro Series will be the next round of the Virtual Supertech Series. That's going to be taking place at Cascavel. That would take place on Saturday at 10 to 6. And then the next round, of course, racing you'll be seeing is the Virtual Touring Masters at Fuji. That's going to be next Wednesday, seeing if possibly John Monroe can take his second VTM victory in as many races. And the championship battle also between Robert Wiesenmuller and Jesper Tolborg continues to rumble on as we head to Fuji and then Bathurst. And then next Saturday, it'll be the penultimate round of the Virtual Carrera Cup at Jyllandsringen in Denmark, of course, where Tim Heinemann is shooting for his and Spade Racing's first TPS championships. Can anyone stop the domination of 8 wins in a row? Is it going to be 12 by the time we leave the second race in Bathurst? We'll have to wait and see. So, let's talk about what happened in the 2 races today. We've been invaded, as usual, by a plethora of drivers. Still got probably plenty more to come in to have a chat to. But we will start, of course, fittingly, with a man that dominated this weekend with 2 front row starts, including 1 pole position and both race victories. It is, of course, Eric Strana, who will leave Campo Grande as championship leader. Eric, of course, some fantastic stuff for you today. 2 victories. Let's just talk about race 1, though. A lot more eventful than race 2. A lot of, we should say, questionable contact when it comes to, or succinct contact between you and Tveit and Chris Butcher. Just talk us through what happened with your point of view, because it seems to be it was quite a lot of rough and tumble out there. At some points it got a bit too much.
Well, from my point of view, me and Chris talked after race 1, and I think there's no hard feelings. It was hard racing. We're going for the championship, so obviously we're gonna be racing hard, but not unfair. At least that's not what I hope we are. But I can see what happened with Chris and Eric. They're behind me. I can't see that good. My mirrors had to focus on not going off, so I can't really comment on that. But I trust that Eric did stayed in the rules, and that's if he didn't, then that's going to be taken care of, I suppose. And unfortunately, it will if he did go over the rules. So, but I can't comment any specifically.
No, that's absolutely fair enough. We should basically talk about your performances, of course. again, two very important victories. That, of course, that puts you in great contention, of course, going into Mid-Ohio. I have to also ask you about that incredible lap that came through in for pole position in race 2, a 1:38.1. I'm pretty sure that's faster than anything we'd ever seen across the 2 weeks of practice. Just where on earth did that come from? Because, of course, there was a lot of tandem drafter going on with Eric. So did that play a key factor in getting pole position?
Yeah, that was the entire thing. I mean, I was too close to him going over the line and got a good slipstream through sector 1. But then I just ended up being too close going down the back, so he just moved over, and because I was so close, I got a massive slipstream and just flew forwards, and I managed to sustain it through the last sector as well. So yeah, that was pretty neat. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say. It was definitely because I got the slipstream from the fight, so that was the only reason for that.
And of course, now going into the final round at Mid-Ohio, of course, you go in with a healthier championship lead than you had when coming into Campo Grande. How is your confidence going into the final round? Because of course you've taken more wins than anyone else in the championship with 5 now. So obviously, I guess really it's a case of just keep it on the road, keep it consistent, and potentially the championship.
Yeah, I know Chris is gonna work really, really hard. I mean, I know he's probably got maybe the upper hand. At least he did last season. But yeah, I mean, just while I'm at it, thank Tom Ely. I mean, we worked all week to get the tire pressures and stuff worked out, and they worked great. So yeah, I know Chris is gonna work hard, so I'll have to do the same. I'm gonna be away all next week, but I should be able to get enough practice in still to challenge Chris and make sure he gets everyone for his money.
Well, congratulations today with your 2 pole positions and your 2 victories in the pole position, and all the best, very best of luck for the final rounds in Mid-Ohio.
Thank you.
I guess now we should also turn our attention to the other man of a championship fight, and a man who hasn't really had the best day at the office by any means, Chris Butcher. Chris, commiserations really today didn't go as really as planned. Really, the forefront really was everything that went on with race 1. Just talk us through what happened from your point of view, because it seems to be there was a lot of contact, a lot of unnecessary contact from both parties.
I wouldn't say that between me and Strahan. In all honesty, it was hard racing. There was a little bit of contact, but when I was careful to make sure that if I did hit him, I didn't gain any advantage out of it. There was one point where I hit him quite hard, the back end of the car, but I made sure I didn't make a move stick and I let him keep the position. I can't complain at him in tapping me, to be honest with you. I don't think it was that much of an issue, in all honesty, but with Tavite, I think that was a little bit of a different story. That was a bit robust in turn 1, I think.
And then, of course, you carry on.
I was just going to say that 3rd place wasn't an ideal result, but to be honest with you, your ice core was stronger here anyway, so I would have taken that, and I would have taken that in race 2 as well, because I know I'm strong at Mid-Ohio, but obviously it didn't really go that way.
And then, of course, race 2, you were running up there battling with the likes of both your colleagues at Orange, and also Ryan Callan, and then just essentially it must have been a case of wrong place, wrong time, unfortunately, wasn't it?
Well, I've got Miguel Neto to thank for being back there, in all honesty. Smashing into the back of my car on the first lap, and then a little bit again later on. Yeah, I don't really know what happened, to be honest with you, but the driving in race 2 was a bit ridiculous, in all honesty. It was just a joke.
So, of course, going into Mid-Ohio, you say it's a circuit that you like, of course. Really, in all fairness, as I said, you're going to have to work hard and hope that you get a bit of luck for Mid-Ohio.
Yeah,
I guess,
definitely.
You're going to have to try and keep your spirits high for the last round. But obviously, you're going to have some confidence that there is a small window that you could potentially still take the championship if things go your way.
Hopefully. It's a strong track for THR in general, to be honest with you. Toby will be up there. I'm sure Robert will be as well, maybe even Adrian and Tomasz. So we've got to get as many cars as we can in front of Strahan. We might see that Tavite might be missing from that round. We'll see after the stewards' inquiries. But yeah, not too hopeful. I've got a 19-point gap to close. So got to do what I can, make sure I win both races, and then the rest is in everybody else's hands.
Well, Chris, sincerely, the very best of luck. Of course, you've been in this situation many times before and just been pipped at the post. So, we'll see what happens. But again, as I said to Eric, very best of luck, and hopefully you can come away with it if things go your way. So we've heard from both championship contenders. We haven't got that many people in the booth to talk to for since I may as well talk to the man I spoke to before race 2. That's Ryan Callan. Ryan, of course, race 1, you had a 10th place. That's exactly where you qualified for race 2. And we spoke about what happened in race 1. Race 2, though, you played a very big part in what happened in the incident between yourself and Toby and eventually Chris. Just what went on from your point of view? Because it seemed to be that you got a hit from Toby and that just sent you firing across the grass.
I mean, yeah, I've got to agree with Chris on Miguel. I thought it was pretty poor driving from Miguel during that race. I thought it was him that punted him on the first lap, and Chris says it was. So that's pretty much confirmed there. And then he pushed Chris wide a couple of times. Chris was a bit strong with him on the lap where the incident happened, and Miguel then pushed him wide again. And I was just minding my own business on the inside, completely off the throttle, nowhere to go, and I hit Chris, which made him go sideways and go back behind Miguel again. I don't challenge Chris in the next corner, let him go through, and I'm slowing up a little bit because Chris is obviously squeezed me off track, been ahead of me, no problem there. And I don't think Toby realised, that I was having to slow up, and just touched the back of me, which sent me firing across the grass. And I was doing everything I could to save it, and I thought, oh no! And I hit Chris, and I was feeling so bad for him. But I've watched the replay, and in my conscience is clear on that particular one. But I just felt so sorry for Chris because he didn't deserve really that to happen to him after. I mean, he was pushed down the field in the first place by Miguel on the opening lap, which is a bit naughty because Miguel's not in the championship hunt. So I realise it's a race and everyone's trying to get the best position they can. But you just show that extra little bit of respect to people who are in the championship hunt, and I didn't feel that was shown by Miguel to Chris today.
I guess we can look at this, of course, from both the driver's point of view and both from an admin point of view. Of course, the final round of the championship.
Well, just from a driver's point of view, I'm not commenting on an admin point of view doing that. When my statements here are driver's point of view. If you want me to go admin mode, I would go admin mode.
No, but of course, this is a slightly different. Moving on to another question.
Yeah.
Looking at, in some ways from both points of view, going to the final round of the championship, it's Strana versus Butcher for the title. Of course, Butcher's got quite an uphill struggle, but Strana has the advantage. But of course, potentially, Dwight might not be there, depending on how the stewards play out. This is kind of a two-part question.
Well,
a two-part question. One, what are you hoping from Mid-Ohio, and 2, what are you expecting?
I'm hoping for a really exciting championship finale, and for that, I don't wish any ill on Strana at all. But I'm hoping that Strana finishes 5th or maybe worse in the first race. That's not to say I don't want nothing to get Strana, but I want the best championship final race that we can get. And this is one of the closest championships we've seen in a long time. And Chris has a very good record at Mid-Ohio, very good indeed. It's his best track in TouringProSeries. In fact, actually, I think he has 4 wins here. So he's very, very quick at Mid-Ohio. But Strana came second in both races last year. So it's a very, very intriguing final battle. What I expect THR to come out all guns blazing. Robert needs to pull his finger out, I feel, to help Chris a little bit. He's lost a little bit of motivation throughout the season, as obviously with the problems he's had and a little bit of lack of speed. But he needs to pull his finger out now and help Chris out, as does Toby, and maybe Adrian if he signs up as well. We could see the Campville Racing guys back there at the final round. So there are all kinds of parameters. If Chris wins, if Chris is quick there and wins, there is every possibility that Strana can find himself several positions down, especially without Tveit being there, if Tveit is found guilty of any wrongdoing in this race, because he's on his final warning, which is another intriguing factor as well.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Well done for the results anyway today. That was because you had quite a nice little battle with Toby for the remainder of the race. So it's 10th and 6th today.
Yeah, it was fun.
So hopefully you can take some more points in the final round and at least round off a decent season, I guess, for walk racing. But fingers crossed. And as you said, hopefully the championship fight will go down to the wire in the final race. But again, well done for today. Fingers crossed you can get more points for walking Mid-Ohio.
No problem. Thanks.
I guess we can talk to one more driver because, of course, we are running a little bit low on drivers. So we can talk to the man who scored his best ever TPS result in race 1, and that's Jonathan Osserklint, who I accidentally said was French. I do apologise. He's actually Swedish. Apologies for that. But Jonathan, Well done. Obviously, you seem to have a knack of starting low down, and especially in certain races, being able to fire your way back up to the field. And race one was no exception. Where on earth did that start come from? Because you shot up into the top 10 just in a matter of moments, and of course that immediately got you into the fight for the lower places in the top 10. Just talk us through how your race played out in race one.
Thank you to begin with. And race one, I had a reasonable start. Was up the inside, so I could sort of hold my position and get back. And then I think there were a bit of contact up ahead in turn 3, and I could just about get a sort of cutback move, and I got up almost past Robert as well, but unfortunately I had a bit more speed down the straight. But after that I tried to hook up to Robert and had an excellent battle with Thomas, Chris Shepard, and I think Ryan was there as well for a couple of laps. It was really good fun, really happy to get away with that 5th place in the end. Was a bit close in the last, went wide and off the track in the 3rd to last corner, and I just managed to hold Thomas off over the line.
And then race 2, you struggled a little bit more, and then you ended up finishing with 18th or so. Just what happened from your point of view? Because it seems to be that you didn't have as much luck in race 1 as you did in race 2 as you had in the first race.
Everything was going fine, and a few laps in, Robert was behind me, and I just about missed my braking point into turn 4, and Robert missed his even more, and unfortunately he managed to hit me and not avoid me, so I ended up on the grass and slipped back. Robert waited for me, and I have no hard feelings for that. And then another few laps later, Pedro Amaral tried to get up my inside, and unfortunately there were a bit more contact, and I went off into the grass again.
Now, of course, just finally going forward into Mid-Ohio, of course, your best finish of the season of your career in 5th in the minis. Of course, with the final round at Mid-Ohio, with everything that could possibly go on, what are you hoping for? Are you hoping that possibly there's a chance that you can build on 5th place and possibly score yourself a 4th or maybe even a podium?
I'm definitely hoping for that, but I'm also realistic in knowing that Mid-Ohio isn't my best track. I finished 10th, top 10 there once in the first season of the minis, and after that I think I've been outside the top 10 in all 3 other races, but with a bit of luck I might sneak in there again.
Well, fingers crossed, and well done again for 5th position. Hopefully you can build on that for the last race and going forwards in TPS for the rest of the races. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And with that, I think, to be fair, that is all the drivers that we have available to speak to, I think, really. Thank you to everyone I have spoken to. Congratulations to Eric Strana for winning both races and securing a pole position today. Of course, apologies that John Moreau wasn't able to be here today for reasons that I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure Ryan will make that clear post-broadcast. But hopefully he'll be back for the final round of the championship. It's not one to be missed because, of course, it is going to be Strana with the advantage. Butcher's got the uphill climb. Strana versus Butcher will be fighting it out for the championship. Very quickly, another reminder of what you can see over the course of the next couple of weeks at TPS. The next racing you'll see is the Virtual Supertech Series from Cascavel on Saturday at 10 to 6. That will be the penultimate round of the championship. Then it's Visa Mueller versus Tolborg and the Virtual Touring Masters, the penultimate round at Fuji in Japan at 7:45 on Wednesday. And then the penultimate round of the Virtual Carrera Cup will be the next Saturday from Jyllandsringen in Denmark. And that is, of course, Tim Heinemann almost running away with the championship. Can he extend his streak of 8 victories and potentially, by the end of the time they leave Bathurst, have it on to 12? And I'll also quickly remind you of how you can keep in touch with everything on Touring Pro Series. TouringProSeries.com is the website for all the information, including possibly I'm pretty sure, a race review will be written for everything that's happened here today at Campo Grande. And of course, you can keep up to date with everything on our social networks. Facebook.com/Touring Pro Series, Twitter.com/Touring_Pro. And of course, if you missed anything in this broadcast and want to watch it back in its entirety, in full, it'll be uploaded to youtube.com/Touring Pro Series. Hit subscribe, and every single broadcast that we run is uploaded back in for you to watch at your leisure. Also want to say thank you to InsideSimRacing.tv, to Cancer Research UK, Live Racers, SimSync Pro, Multi-BC, and of course to Wrightson Studios for putting on Game Stock Car 2012. And thank you to all of you for watching. I've been Scott Woodwiss. This has been a Touring Pro Series production. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. It's Strana versus Butcher. Who will win the championship? It remains to be seen, but we'll see you in Mid-Ohio. Until then, bye for now.
InsideSimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.